Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Friday. We're live on February 28th, 2025. Say hello in the chat. Give me a thumbs up if you can see this video. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Just a reminder, because we are filming live on Friday, if you guys are watching this on Saturday or on Sunday, we're no longer live. Please don't send payments for readings, otherwise you'll be refunded. And I hope to catch you back here next time. How's it going, guys? We've got a number of people who are in the queue already. So what's happening? I'm just adding a few people. Don't mind me. Today we're doing live tarot readings on the channel. So if you guys want to get a reading, you want to get in the queue, scan the QR code. It's going to take you to my PayPal. We're doing 1-card spreads for $20 and 3-card spreads for $40. And if you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. Click the bell button below so you get alerts as to when I'm live on the channel. I'm a Western astrologer and a tarot reader. We're here every Friday, and we alternate each Friday between doing tarot and astrology. So what's up? I'm gonna say hello to everybody that I have so far. So if you guys hear your name, I'm gonna do the roll call and let you guys know who I have for the queue already. We always take level 3 members first, and if you're not already a level 3 member, you should consider joining. You're gonna get a reading from me once a month. You can choose tarot or astrology. You also support me as a full-time content creator, and you get a shout out for supporting my work. If you guys know my work, it is crazy. I do long form content on astrology, incorporating tarot and the Sabian symbols. If you guys join my memberships, it makes it possible for me to be a full-time content creator and keep doing what I'm doing. In the last week, we hit 40,000 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for subscribing and supporting the channel, for your likes, your comments, your shares. You guys are the best, and I'm just checking to see who we've got here. So let me say hi to everybody so far. We've got CZ here who's cashing in. What's up, La Rose? Sharon's cashing in. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, Jackie. Deanna's here. Happy Friday. Hey, Red Druidess. Yeah, I was feeling a little feral today. I feel like with all the planets that are in Aries, this is like so appropriate. So I was like, I'll just put it on. This is like the fun show. We're a little bit more like relaxed here. What's up? Only an acre. All right, so here's who I've got so far. CZ and Sharon are cashing in as level 3 members. We've also got Ayanna, Omar, Lula, Amanda, Whitney, Camille, Rachel, Jennifer, Vanessa, Matt, Kendra. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Let me know if I am. And I will also call names as we kind of go through the readings. So if you hear your name come up again, I'm just letting you know that you guys are on deck for your reading. We'll let you know when we're going to close down the readings. We got Jessica that got in there too. So Jessica, I've got you. And we'll go from there. So I hope you guys are enjoying your kickoff to the weekend. We've got some crazy astrology that's happening over the next month. Just a few kind of headlines. So I have a Venus retrograde webinar that is out. I can see a couple people already said they've been watching it. It is long, but it is really insightful, and it ties together the Venus retrograde, the Mercury retrograde in the midst of eclipse season in March of 2025. The next 2 months is wild. So if you guys want insights, remedies, and predictions for how that's impacting the 12 rising signs, check out my webinar on my website at beyondtheveiltarot.com. I also teach tarot as well as astrology, so you can check out my courses there. I've got tons of courses that are study at your own pace. We sell mugs, bags. We have really cool tarot bags. So I don't know if you guys have seen them, but we have a bunch of really cute ones that also have like all the queens and like some of the major arcana cards, which are super cute. And we have astrology calendars, personal calendars, digital calendars, printed calendars, all that stuff. So for all that and much, much more, or if you want to book a personal reading with me or see a little bit more about me or my work, check out beyondtheveiltarot.com. Please click the thumbs up button, like this video. It lets other people know that we are live on YouTube. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off and get started with CZ and Sharon and then Ayanna. So if there's any other level 3 people here who haven't cashed in, this is the last week of February. So if you want to cash in on your monthly reading, please do. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys back here next month. Just a big heads up also, I will not be here next week. So there will not be an astrology live. I know, but I'm taking a much needed vacation. So I've been filming videos like crazy. for the last couple of days because I needed to film enough content to take 10 days off. Much needed, okay? I know, but I gotta be away before I kick ass with all of my readings for the next couple months. So we will not be having a live. I will be back though. We're gonna be doing lunar eclipse readings for the lunar eclipse in Virgo the following Friday. So if you're here and you're like, I want astrology, hang tight. I'll see you in 2 weeks when I'm back and I'm refreshed. So I'm looking forward to it. When you come back, where there'll be a live astro, it'll be astro. Okay, so we're gonna get going with CZ, Ayanna, and Sharon. You guys are all next. And scan the QR code if you guys want to get in the queue. We'll let you know when we're closing it up. CZ says, I'd love to know what I should be letting go of with this new moon. I feel stuck, confused, and heavy-hearted in love, career, and pretty much everything. Pisces sun, Sag rising, Scorpio moon. All right, so here's the deal. Obviously, this new moon was an interesting one because obviously Pisces is the ending and the new moon is the new beginning, and all of it was squaring Jupiter. So we're trying to be optimistic about what we're letting go, but there is a massive pileup in the stars happening right now, actually. A bunch of planets in the sign of Pisces. So people are feeling a little heavy and questioning like what's next, and it's a little challenging to keep the faith. So let's see what we can tell CZ about the future. No worries, Jana. I'll still put you on the list since you're level 3. So you'll go after Sharon. So let's see what the cards have to say. And I will give you guys an updated list in just a little bit. I appreciate your patience. Tarot's been busy lately, huh? I've seen a lot of people getting tarot readings. Makes sense with Mercury and Pisces. All right, let's take a look. What can we tell CZ about this new moon and what she needs to focus on? What is she letting go of? What are the themes for her with this? Obviously, you know that new moon was 4th house, right? So it deals with home, family, emotions, and the past. All right, so we have got the 5 of Cups. Let me adjust this a little bit here. Sorry, guys. Did I move something? There we go. Okay. We've got the 5 of Cups, the Ace of Wands, and the Sun card. So good news is that I see a positive ending in the midst of kind of feeling like you're a bit bummed out. 5 of Cups makes me feel like we're not getting our cup refilled, right? This is a card where you need to be careful because you can get stuck in sadness. You can get stuck in despair. Obviously, you see him kind of turned with his back to the card and he's kind of cloaked in something that is dark. So it does kind of represent going through like that dark night of the soul period. Makes perfect sense with the new moon in Pisces, especially because this is all about closing things out. So we're reflecting on what hasn't worked, what came to an end, where we've been disappointed. And whenever I teach tarot and I talk about this card, I always kind of reference read the cards like it's a story. You want to look at it as it's like a movie. So this is the past position. We see he's facing the cups that are tipped over. So disappointment in relationships, maybe disappointment in regards to feeling you haven't been fulfilled in a certain area of your life, or maybe there is a sense of being stuck on the past. There is like a sense of not being able to kind of let it go and being super fixated on what fell apart. And he's turning his back to, there's 2 cups. So the 2 of Cups we know in tarot deals with new relationship opportunities, right? People who are coming into our life that are offering us an opportunity to kind of connect, collaborate, or be in a relationship. So it can be saying that you're blocking yourself, and you may not see it, but you're blocking yourself by focusing on the past and harboring feelings connected to disappointment from new love coming in. All right, so just something to kind of think about. We don't want to get stuck in this card. It is a minor. So we get to the right now card and the Ace of Wands comes up, which I think is so appropriate. There is like this kind of like clash of the energies February through April. Planets going through Pisces, hitting with Saturn and Neptune where we feel kind of stuck or blocked. And then we also see planets that are moving into Aries, which will be retrograding back into Pisces. Retrogrades, we go into the past, we reassess, we decide what we're going to kind of cut loose, what we're going to revamp, and then we move forward. So I kind of see like this next month as like you being pulled back, like a slingshot or a bow and arrow, because you're getting ready to be shot in a new direction. But you need some new inspiration. You know, the Ace of Wands is how can I get active? How can I get moving? How can I bring in excitement, passion, creativity? It's a lot about new intentions, obviously new moon, but about where you're going. And it's like striking a match or focusing on where you can kind of heat something up. So obviously, you know, if you have a Sag rising, I think about how there's a solar eclipse in Aries, a fire sign in your 5th. There's a Mercury retrograde, a Venus retrograde, and it wants you to get active. It wants you to also be doing something that's creative. It can bring love to you if you've been looking for a new relationship, but that love starts with the self, Aries. So I love that the Ace of Wands is basically this new energy that's being initiated, you know, in the immediate next month between now and like, let's say April, that is about, okay, what can I do? What can I accomplish? What am I taking, you know, into control? Or how am I learning to focus on my own joy, my own happiness, my own creativity? This can be great for movement, action, creative projects. It can also be about new hobbies that are coming in. And then finally, you have the Sun card, which is also a solar energy as well. This does talk about maybe that solar eclipse. This can also be talking about victory and overcoming challenges. This is a card that sometimes also comes up where it's like learning to play and be present. This card comes up after we've had some challenges, especially when it comes to career or romantic relationships. So whenever we see a horse in the tarot, it's bringing us a message. And with the child on top of it, it's saying getting back to our roots, focusing on what used to make us happy, doing things maybe that brings fulfillment, creative joy, as well as travel. So with this card being the final card, you're kind of moving from the dark to the light. Like there is going to be something that is going to be kind of like re-emerging, which is definitely a theme with the solar eclipse and the retrogrades. I feel like if you get your body moving and if you're going and focusing on new ways that you can go and have fun and be creative, you're gonna see that spark come back and you're really gonna feel more enthusiastic about what the future holds. Granted, lots of planets going into your 4th house does mean that you have to deal with home, family, domestic matters, shoring up any issues where you're not happy with where you're living or you're feeling like there's a lot of karmic responsibility when it comes to your family or maybe even your roommates. It could be your living situation. It could be showing you where you need to actually get out of the past, 4th house, and proceed forward. So hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so we've got Sharon. What's up, Sharon? Thanks, guys. I just got it colored. But my secret trick is I don't wash it for 3 days, and I think I look like a ragamuffin, but it looks better than usual. All right, so we have got Sharon who says, I'd love to use my monthly reading, just looking ahead. All right, so it looks like you are a Scorpio. Let's take a look at what I can tell you, giving you some insight for a general reading. Would love to know if I'm aligned with the universe for the next season. I've made moves in my career and made hard decisions about a toxic relationship, investing in myself, spouses, and kids. What else comes up? Thanks, Jana. I'll take you next. All right, so let's see what we can tell Sharon in terms of, is she aligned with what's next for this next season? Looks to me like you had to clean house. Gotta love that death card. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of the death card the next like month in some of the readings because that always comes up whenever we're in eclipse season. You know, if I had to have the death card in a spread, I would want it in the 1st or the 2nd card position because at least it tells me that you're on board with making the necessary changes to move forward, right? So the death card is like, hey, whatever has happened. It's in the past. There's no going back. We have no other option but to kind of evolve and focus on what new things are being sprung from what we have ended. Does not make it easy, okay? And the death card also deals with joint finances, it deals with debt, it deals with death, it also deals with overcoming fears and focusing more on how we can make lemonade, right? I mean, in the foreground, you see there's like the 2 towers, the sun is coming up, we've got another horse that's coming through, and the message is basically like, hey, this is a stagnant. So it sounds to me like you've been really realizing there are some things that are not actually moving forward. They may not be healthy for you. They may also not be bringing you the necessary kind of like wealth or resources or personal transformation which you've been seeking. And when the death card comes up, especially in correlation to like relationships or your career, it's about really acknowledging like some of the quiet truths about the situation where you're like, actually, this isn't going anywhere, you know? And if it's not going anywhere, then I have no other choice but to kind of move forward. Four of Wands is a positive card. In the current position, it means that you're really trying to focus on the right now. And I really feel like this is important everywhere, okay? Like for everybody, because Aries is right now. We've got retrogrades in Aries, we've got a solar eclipse in Aries, we've got Neptune and Saturn coming into Aries, all like within about a 2 or 3 month time frame. This means that we have to focus on what we can do right now, what we can start doing, not getting sucked into the past, not future tripping. So it looks to me like you're kind of trying to plan either events or things that you're looking forward to. Maybe you have set some shorter goals that you're hoping to accomplish within the next 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months. And you're also celebrating some of your small wins. So you may not feel like you have totally fulfilled your goals, but you're giving yourself a pat on the back and really celebrating the fact that you are able to make change. And some of these small shifts that you're doing personally are gonna like manifest as being happy and being able to have more social opportunities, more connection. So if you have felt like you haven't been doing that, now you're implementing more of it. This also kind of indicates that, you know, if you've been investing in yourself more and making some of these hard decisions, you're going to see the universe responding in a way where they're bringing you happy situations, more social get-togethers, better friends, an opportunity also to just kind of slow down a little bit and enjoy some of the fruits of your labor. Now, the 7 of Coins comes up in the final position, which means that you're going to kind of like do this thing where you're going to be like, yes, I made all these changes. It's great. You know, like this is amazing. But there's going to be like this pivot where there's going to be a little bit of doubt. You want to watch for this around 7 weeks from now. It might mean that, you know, you notice that you're moving forward. Hey, not calling, you know, the toxic ex back, or maybe I'm not falling back into old patterns. And then you're going to kind of be like, well, wait a second. What if I had stayed? What if I had stayed at the job? What if I did take that person back? You know, anything like that that you have felt like, it's like creating doubt in the situation. So you can't pivot. The 7 of Coins also talks about how or where you're investing your time or your energy. So you have to give yourself enough time to kind of like see the reward, right? You can't just expect immediate results. 4 of Wands is like, maybe you're like, yeah, I dropped the, you know, relationship that was toxic. I made the positive career goal, you know, whatever. But then you're going to kind of start to say like, okay, well, I'm not seeing the results yet. And you might kind of doubt the process. Don't doubt the process. Focus on where you can invest your time and your energy. Which relationships are going to feel the most rewarding? Where are you actually working or spending your time or your money in a way that's going to be beneficial for you in the long term? For me, this is always about reevaluating like what's most important to you and what's going to pay off, like I said, in the long run. So, you know, rather than staying at like a dead-end job, maybe you're deciding, you know what, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to start looking. Maybe you're also realizing that you've spent too much time prioritizing the wrong people, the wrong situations, the wrong things. And if you give yourself until about 7 weeks, you're going to start to see that if you stay the path and if you're committed to your vision and also focusing on being able to create more harmony and creating the life that you want, you pass that kind of period where you're being tested, and then you're going to start to see things actually like manifest and unfold. Don't doubt yourself in the process, and also be paying attention to where you're putting your time and your energy, because it's valuable. You're trying to plant seeds for long-term change, and in order to do that, you have to be patient to start to see some of those things bloom. Hopefully that's helpful for you. 7 weeks since I made the career move. Ding. All right, so then this is going to be the time that you're going to start to see the results that are going to be coming your way. Focusing also on being able to connect with groups, whether this is socializing with friends, networking with people at work, you know, creating more time maybe to spend with your significant other, where you guys are like getting out and about and you're, you know, spending time together. You're really focusing on being in the moment, because I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. And you'll notice that some of your relationships with other people are also improving as a result of making some changes in your lifestyle or your work. Hopefully this is helpful for you. All right, we've got Diana, and if you guys are still watching, you want to get in the queue, go ahead. I will do an updated list in just a little bit. You guys get to watch me kind of arm wrestle with PayPal. All right, so Diana says, 3-card spread. I'm feeling a sense of renewal and ready to start fresh with a small business. What do I need to focus on with my esoteric side business? Thanks, Sharon. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So what can we tell Diana about this new frame of mind with where she's going with her side business? What does she have to look forward to? What's happening? All right, it was in this order. Hard truths, hard truths. 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, Wheel of Fortune. I kind of see this as like coming to the realization that some of the ways that you were working or what you were doing was not working. And maybe you were not ready to acknowledge that, or you weren't ready to see it. I mean, also, you know, 10s always deal with like rest and completing cycles. And like, I know as a Leo rising, you've had a retrograde in your 10th house. So is your 12th house. So a lot of that's maybe been about you kind of taking a step back and being like, you know what, there are certain things that I thought I was going to do, that I thought I was going to commit to, that, you know, I didn't, and it didn't work out. Maybe you're feeling a little disappointed that you didn't take certain opportunities, or that there were certain things that did not take off the way that you thought it was going to. And that was disappointing. That mental stress of the 10 of Swords, right? Of feeling like you can get in your head, you can get blocked, you can get worried, you can throw in the towel. Or you can decide to say, you know what, how that was playing out was not going to be sustainable in the long term. Like working 2 jobs at the same time, maybe trying to have too many irons in the fire, whatever happened, like there was this need to really kind of come to Jesus and go, no, that cycle has to be done because I have to do things completely different. So that's the past. Obviously a lot of swords. Probably one of the 2 more difficult cards I would say would be the 10 and the 3 of Swords. So with that ending and like that sense of processing, okay, it's done, that doesn't make you feel any better. The 3 of Swords is kind of realizing like, you know, it hurts. It hurts knowing that maybe I put time and energy and effort into something and it didn't play out. It can also mean that there's been some heartbreak and some disappointment revolving around certain relationships where maybe you feel like you haven't been as best supported. Where you did not get, you know, the invitation to collaborate with other people, where maybe you feel like you launched something that you put your heart and soul into and it did not do as well as you had hoped. So it's still kind of playing off the 10 of Swords, but it's at least kind of saying like, okay, I've kind of committed to the fact that whatever happened needs to be done. That's the end of a cycle. Doesn't hurt any less. There is a need for you to also focus on business that's going to be maybe about heart healing, being more heart-centered. Obviously, to heal the broken heart here, you got to pull the sword out, right? We literally have to pull the sword out so we can kind of triage and kind of treat the wounds. And 3s always deal with like communication. It can also be about connection. I'm thinking that this might be about you doing something where you're maybe counseling and working with people, you know, talking to them and helping them work through trauma or pain. It can also mean that you're focusing on writing and communication. So this could be like blogging. Maybe you're creating journals that people can reflect on their feelings. Maybe you're helping people who are moving through heartbreak or separation or disappointment. And it's mental. So this isn't limited to just writing. It could be you're creating meditations. Maybe you're deciding that you want to teach people how to self-heal. Maybe it's about inner child stuff. This can also be about exercises and breath work and other things that can be self-healing. So it's giving you an opportunity from your experiences where you've had pain on your own to say, okay, I'm going to work through this. I'm going to teach through this. I'm going to create something that's like a vessel for other people to be able to heal. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune. So something good comes from this. Like it's not all going to be in vain. This whole process of maybe having to let go of what you thought you were going to be doing to embrace the reality of what you will be doing, what that's actually going to look like. Wheel of Fortune is about traveling. This is about good fortune and things working in your direction. This is also a card that I kind of see as like the universe intervenes. And when the universe gets involved, you know, we think things are going to go one way and we kind of feel like we're maybe being whiplashed all over the place because it's not a from point A to point B thing. It's not linear, and neither is healing. So I think this can be really wonderful because maybe it's opening the door for you to go, it doesn't just have to be, you know, healing in this format or a business in this format. Maybe you're broadening your perspective a little bit and now you're going, you know what? I'm going to be traveling. Maybe I want to do some retreat work with other people. Maybe I'm wanting to connect with other healers. Maybe this is going to be an opportunity for me to just say, I'm detaching from any expectations. I'm going to be focusing on obviously having set goals, but I know that I have to go on a journey, literally or figuratively, in order to better kind of put the pieces together and figure out how you can relaunch this. And doing so, I think, is going to help you find a much more meaningful path. I also think this is going to be something that's going to give you more variety in terms of the type of work that you're going to be doing. Look for turning points in the fixed months. Obviously, we've got like Aquarius, you know, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus season. That's all kind of jam-packed into the Wheel of Fortune. So there will be significant turning points that are going to be happening there. Being a Leo rising, obviously this is significant for you because as you see planets go through these particular signs, yes, there is going to be a lot of action in your chart, probably leading up to some really big kind of, you know, moments in May, knowing that Uranus will leave your 10th house, knowing that Venus is going to conjunct Uranus, the sun's going to go through your 10th house. That's definitely going to be a turning point for you where you can see things really coming full circle. And I think it's going to feel a little bit more positive as well as, you know, some excitement in kind of like not knowing what's being thrown your way. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. I feel it's hardcore, yes, heart-centered, and getting serious about YouTube content creation. Cool. I did book my Irish yoga retreat. Like it. It's perfect. That's what you're supposed to be doing with that Wheel of Fortune card. And also connecting with people in other places. That's very much the Wheel of Fortune as well. Thank you guys for being level 3 members. If there's any more that want to get in, let me know. What's up, Dorothy? I just saw that you're in here too. Let's see. So other than that, we have CZ, Ayanna, and Omar. We have a ton of people that are getting readings. So if you guys want to get a reading, get in the queue. Probably leave it up for like another 10 minutes or so. Let me switch over to my new list. And we're going to start with Ayanna, then we have Omar, and then we have Lula. Get in the queue. Smash the like button. If you want to get in the queue, you just have to scan the QR code. And if you scan that, you can go to the PayPal. You can make a donation of $20 for 1 card or $40 for a 3-card spread. Listen for your name, and then you'll get your reading. All right, so let's see what Ayanna says. What's the likely trajectory of my connection with the Libra man, considering our current silence after I set out my boundary about not wanting friends with benefits situationship? All right, so let's take a look. I know we have some people asking if you're in the queue. I will give you guys an update in just a minute, but if you already sent a payment, likely you're already there. So what's the trajectory with this Libra? You know, Libras are going to have that Venus Mercury retrograde stuff going on here soon. So a lot of them are going to be circling back. But let's see. What is the trajectory? Well, this looks like a pretty big deal to me. Judgment, the Star card, and the Fool card. Just kind of spitballing a little bit, like for the Aries, for the Libras, considering there's like a solar eclipse and then there's going to be like Mercury and Venus retrograde. A lot of partners for Libras are recognizing and realizing that they need to heal some of their own issues. And while they're in the process of doing that, they realize a lot of their problems in the relationship are stemming from, you know, like not having boundaries. So it's normal to be issuing that boundary. I think with the Fool card coming up in the past position, it kind of symbolizes the fact that either you or both of you guys or him have kind of just jumped into this connection and it was just kind of like, let's just see where it goes. And nothing was really defined. So obviously if it was a situationship, the Fool card is like, well, we kind of went into it, you know, with a little bit of recklessness and hope and idealism that it would possibly lead to something. And yeah, it was fun. You had your experiences, but obviously the Fool is like also kind of partially getting ready to step off a cliff, so it could potentially lead to a situation where somebody is falling for the other person and not realizing the position they're putting themselves in and like how vulnerable that can make them feel. Maybe it's also about looking back at the relationship and being like, wow, I've grown. Like I've grown up since whenever we started, even if it's been less than a year or if it's been a decade, you're like, I've grown up. I've realized that this is not as fulfilling. It's exciting, but it's maybe not as fulfilling as it once was. And you're looking back at some of your guys' interactions, realizing that you're like, oh, you know, there's some things that I shouldn't have done. But still, you know, there is not a lot of regret with the Fool card because it's like, well, it happened, you know, but I don't want to go back to those patterns because you might feel like you were being taken for granted, or maybe you felt like you were being kind of treated like a fool, or not appreciated when you could have been or you should have been. The Star card in the center is talking about healing. So this is a card for Aquarius. It's also really talking about being able to go and work through things so that way there can be some process before there is this blending and reconnecting. This is also a card that deals with like healing, but whether or not there can be a friendship. So I think that one thing that is coming up that's pretty significant is that if you guys are going to be in each other's lives, right, in any capacity, whether you guys are friends or whether you guys are like romantic partners or lovers, you guys both are separately healing and on your own path first. And you have to do that before you come together. Because if he wants you in his life, he's going to have to, at least at bare minimum, be a friend. He needs to be a good friend. It needs to be something that's a mutual exchange, because all relationships are going to be built off of the basis of friendship. Otherwise, you just have like a really intense kind of attraction and chemistry, and like it can kind of fracture and falter if you guys don't have that sense of trust and like that base, you know, kind of that's been built in the relationship. So I feel like there is a possibility for a friendship. And I think that he would want you in his life and vice versa, but both parties are going to need to heal. So it's saying you're kind of in that process. February has been the month of that. This is about Aquarius season. It does kind of say that there is a possibility that there can be a healing and a reconnection once there is going to be both of you guys kind of on the same page. So we're waiting for that to happen. Obviously, what's interesting also is this card deals with Aquarius, and then the Fool card deals with Uranus. So there is like a sense of, okay, what's going on in the Aquarius area of your chart? We know that Pluto is there, right? And Mars has been back and forth. So that's been some drama over, are we lovers or are we friends? What are we doing? So maybe look at what's going on with Aquarius in your chart. And then the final card is the Judgment card. So it does make me feel like this is not going to be open-ended. It's not going to be like a situation where you had a boundary, you know, and then you guys never speak again. And then, you know, you close the door, he closed the door. No. Judgment means it's definitive. So I think that the way that you put it or how he took it was kind of like you being like, look, I like you. I think you like me. I think this is mutual, but I want a definitive decision as to what we are doing. I'm no longer willing to kind of stay in this like gray area. You're either in or you're out, and that's what it's going to be. And I think that this can indicate that there is like almost like a return or a revival or like a resurrection, you know, and a reconnection that can happen. But you're only willing to move forward if there is defined, I guess, rules, you know, regarding your guys' connection. The Judgment card also is about cause and effect. Versus like the Justice card, which is more karmic and, you know, Libra, this is more kind of you being like, okay, this is the line. I drew the line. If you want to be together, you know, I'm here. Otherwise, I got to kind of turn you loose and let you go. I think you are going to hear from him again. The cards aren't indicating that it's like a whirlwind romance, getting back together, or being in a committed relationship. It's saying that you're like, look, if you want to be friends, we can be friends, but we will be friends. That is the line. And if you want more than that, then I'm going to return to the conversation where I said you need to kind of pick your lane and stick to it. You're not doing the back and forth. Perhaps the Judgment card can be an awakening for him. This realization of, as you guys haven't been talking or connecting, that he realizes that he genuinely misses you. And he might have this wake-up call that's like, hey, I really want her in my life. And if it means that I need to respect her and I need to be her friend because I can't give her a relationship, then I need to be a good friend in order to have her in my life. And I don't think that's a bad move. Because if he comes in and you guys build the foundation of having a friendship, there is a possibility that, you know, he could realize I do want more. And it's really a call for him to take action and also accountability for his behavior. So keep that door open. You know, you hear from him, likely he might crack over the next couple of weeks with those retrogrades. And you hear from him and he's like, well, I've been thinking about it. I'd be like, cool. So do you want to go and hang out? I'm not going to your house. You're not coming to my house, but you want to go to dinner, you want to go and hang out and do something, you want to hang out with friends, great. And keep that boundary. He needs to see that you're really sticking to your guns on this one and what it's like to not actually have that extra kind of intimate connection. It's like reaping all the benefits of a relationship without the commitment. He's not going to get access to that. The more that you maintain what you told him, the shorter time and also the more likely he's going to realize that it's like all or nothing. Okay? 3 majors, that's a big deal. So there's a huge turning point that's going on right now. Good luck. All right, so we're gonna have Omar, Lula, and then Amanda. Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys the rundown for who I do have, because there's a bunch of people in here. So if you guys haven't already liked the video, please like the video. All right, so we have Ayanna that we just spoke to. We have Omar, Lula, Amanda, Whitney, Camille, Rachel, Jennifer, Vanessa, Matt. We've got Kendra, Jessica, Janae, Jacqueline, Tanya, Miss Martin, David, and Brandon. So if you hear your name, that means you are one of my victims. All right, so let's get back into the queue. Let's see what Omar says. What's up, Omar? Hi, Candace. What themes will come up for me in these next 2 crazy months? Thank you. Libra rising, Sag sun, and a Taurus moon. Well, your chart ruler going retrograde with Mercury in the 7th. I feel like that's a lot about decisions in regards to relationships, you know, and that can be with a therapist, with clients, that can be the relationship to yourself, Aries. That can be karmic things in relationships, getting closure, or people coming back, or people coming in, okay? We've got 4 of coins, the Wheel of Fortune, and the moon. You know, you're gonna have a lunar eclipse, the moon, in your 12th house pretty soon. So that's gonna happen, I think, the 14th of March. And for Libra risings, you know, the 12th house is like your subconscious, your dreams, things that are hidden, stuff that's, you know, maybe been kind of lurking around rent-free in your mind, and then all of a sudden it's gonna come out. So dreaming about somebody, thinking about somebody, going back and forth about something, you know, the moon being the final card is saying there's a lot of subconscious stuff that's getting stirred up right now. So I would pay attention to that. I think with the 4 of coins, it's really talking about like, what do I hold on to and what do I let go of? This is a card where, you know, in a financial sense, it can be talking about you going back and forth, questioning what do I value, right? And Venus is about that. Venus is values. It is money. It is relationships. But equally, it's your 8th house lord. So it's about what you give and take with other people, and whether or not you feel like it's an equal exchange, financially, emotionally, you know, energetically, sexually. So 4 of coins can be actually kind of saying to you, hey, there's some things that maybe you've been valuing, or things you've been holding on to, things you've been thinking about, emotions you've been holding on to, that it's time to reassess. And it's time to reassess whether or not you still need to carry that baggage with you. It's like a body that you can feel like you're dragging around. In a financial or a health sense, this could mean that you're really focused on a financial goal like saving, investing. Maybe you're really focusing on your health. Obviously, Virgo in the 12th house can be more kind of also mental health related. It can also be about your habits and your routines and how they impact your daily, day-to-day life in your 6th. I think that I would be really reassessing old, outdated beliefs about relationships, about what's happened in the past, and if it has to continue again, if you're going to continue some of those patterns. I think the Wheel of Fortune in the current position is saying actually good things are coming your way. And I think when your chart ruler goes retrograde, is it more difficult? Yes. But I think the retrograde into your 6th is kind of saying, hold on, this is a positive change. This is a positive rollback. We're actually going to go into the 6th house and say, I'm less focused on fixing other people. I'm more focused on fixing me. Creating the necessary routines, boundaries. Also, it's about kind of time for meditation, rest, and reflection. Getting your own house in order, so that way you know that you're 100%. So when you do go back into the 7th house with these transits later in April, May, you know, you could go, okay, so it's not me. You know, I've done everything I can do. And maybe then you can realize it's okay to let go of some of these people, or forgive people, or maybe decide that you're going to open yourself up to a new relationship or a new partnership. I think the moon card is really kind of talking about a lot of this getting shaken up with the lunar cycle. So obviously you're going to have one that's in your 12th house where things are hidden, and then the 12th house ruler goes retrograde in the 7th. So there might be people who come out of the woodwork unexpectedly that you don't see coming, that is going to either come up in dreams or come into your life or reconnect with you, that's going to give you the opportunity to kind of see where you're holding on to old storylines or people too tightly. I think the moon card also talks about stuff we're afraid of, things that we don't see so clearly. I would go out on a limb here, but I feel like for any Libra rising, whether you're a partner or you're single, this is the time where you need to clear the air and any preconceived notions that you have about relationships, because they might actually be blocking you, and it can be things that you know, are old stories you've told yourselves or fears or phobias you haven't dealt with that are kind of playing out in relationships to make you more aware of it. So work with the lunar cycles. Watch also at the end of the month, you're going to have a solar eclipse in Aries, which could also show you where you can get that kind of reset when it comes to partnerships with other people. Okay. Good luck. Circle back. I'd love to hear from my fellow Libra risings how this next week, month or so goes for you. All right. We have got Lula, Amanda, and Whitney. What's up, Lula? 3-card reading, please. My question is, what will happen between me and my work crush? I'd like to know if there's potential to be together or we will remain just coworkers. Backstory, we worked together and he showed interest, but he told me that he can't break the work boundary and is moody. He also said some nonsense quote about not shitting where you eat. Currently there's distance and it's been a month since he's opened up a conversation with me. I am a Taurus rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, and he is a Virgo sun. Thanks in advance. Well, there's definitely a lot of back and forth with Virgo relationships and the people that they're involved in kind of feeling a bit alienated. So let's take a look. As like a Taurus rising, Cancer, sun, and moon, communication is so important to you. And so I feel like maybe that's why it's a little bit more challenging, because you're like, I'm not getting that emotional back and forth or validation. Like the communication is really what kind of keeps you in, you know? Cancer moons also, you guys never forget anything. All right, let's take a look. So what can we tell her in regards to this situation with this dude? So you've got 6 of Swords, Queen of Wands, 10 of Cups. I almost feel like he needs to see you like act like you don't care. And that's going to be really hard if you got all that like Cancer, Taurus in your chart. You know, but the 6 of Swords is like moving on to like smoother times. I feel like if you feel as if things have been weird or kind of awkward, that's going to pass. Like that phase is going to pass. You're not going to feel like that for very long. I also feel like for you, the 6 of Swords is about being like, okay, I'm moving on from this situation. I'm not going to stay here and feel like stressed out or wondering if he's going to come back or if he's not. I'm just going to kind of get the show on the road and get on with things. And I feel like this is also about showing him I'm not phased, right? It's not going to affect or impact the way that I work with you. It's about going into work and being like, cool, everything's fine. We're good. We can work. We can still communicate. Doesn't mean you have to like ignore him or vice versa. I would actually encourage you to just go about your daily routine like nothing happened. I do think the Queen of Wands is a great energy, because if you have a lot of water and earth in your chart, you know, this fire that we're going to have with the retrogrades and the eclipses is really kicking things into overdrive. Obviously, as a Taurus rising, you know, some of the retrograde stuff that's taking place is in your 12th house, where you're reflecting, you know, you're kind of turning inward, and then you're going to have planets go into your 11th house where you're feeling more communicative and capable of being able to kind of interact with other people, especially people at work. I think that the Queen of Wands is daring. She's sexy. She's passionate. She's confident. This is somebody who is not going to even for a second feel like they are less than, or that they weren't chosen, or that they're not good enough. She's like totally confident on her own. She doesn't need that validation from other people. I would say, you know, going into work and being that and acting that way is positive. Now, you can also receive some encouragement from a fire sign. So it could be an Aries or a Sag or a Leo that kind of comes in, somebody who's saying to you, hey, you have an opportunity now, you know, to kind of show him what he missed. It can be this reworking of your image or how you're dressing or how you're looking at work. I mean, you might go into work and feel like, hey, I'm going to wear a pair of like big boots, or I'm going to put on the red lipstick, or I'm going to wear the orange sweater. Like, I'm going to show him what he's missing, and like watch that kind of buzz and that interaction. When he feels like you're not giving him the attention, you're now putting the attention back on yourself. This is also saying that the more that you're doing this, prioritizing you and putting you first, is actually going to help your relationship growth, whether it's him or if it's somebody else in the future. Now, you asked specifically, is there a possibility? Yeah, but it looks like it's like when you have just about moved on and you're like, I don't care any longer. All of a sudden now you're more focused on yourself, and there is this mood shift. You know, the 10 of Cups is saying, yes, there is a potential. This is the happy ever after card. So it can mean ultimately you get what you wish for. You know, you guys can have some kind of, you know, fulfilling type of connection. It can be this fairy tale ending. However, I just think about Virgo risings, and a lot of them are like deep in their bullshit. Love you guys, but it's the truth right now. You're going to see Mercury and Venus retrograde in your 8th house, where you're going to see fear of intimacy, fear of uniting with another person, fear of commitment. All of that stuff is going to leave you high and dry and feeling kind of lonely, especially as planets retrograde back into your 7th house. So you're going to see somebody who was available suddenly like, nah, I don't really care, which is why I'm telling you, you can act that way. Perhaps the 10 of Cups is also saying that in the long run, whether it's him or it's somebody else, although you asked specifically if it's him, this will benefit you because you can't be hoping and waiting that he's going to choose you. You have to choose you. And by kind of embodying that Queen of Wands energy where you're like, whatever, I'm going to kind of keep the show on the road. And if I get attention from other people, or if I have other people that are, talking to me at work or other opportunities, I'm going to follow that bliss, 10 of Cups. But I do think that maybe if you kind of let him be for a little bit and make him realize that you're not going to be gravitating towards him or trying to kind of have this back and forth with him, you'll have an opportunity to see the tide turn, and maybe he'll realize that, hey, she's not as interested anymore, what's going on? But you have to maintain this kind of composure. It can't be like as soon as he's coming back around, you like snap back into softy mode with all that Taurus and Cancer in your chart. You have to maintain. Also, Mars rules relationships for you. So having Mars, going retrograde in your 4th house, opposing Pluto, does represent there is this back and forth power struggle revolving around how one person approaches work versus the other. That's going to continue until April. So you might need to give this some time. It might mean that it's a span of, 10 weeks, 10 months, the 10th month of the year where you see something turn. You're going to have to look at what's going on with your natal Mars and Pluto in your chart to kind of see when a relationship can evolve. But if there's a connection to your 6th house or your 10th house between your Mars, your Venus, or your Pluto, that's a good indication that you could actually have a relationship that could stem from somebody who you work with. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Definitely a good ending. That's such a Virgo thing to say. I don't shit where I eat. Okay. Let me know what happens. We're going to call final call. So if you guys want to get your reading in, get your reading in. All right, Amanda, Whitney, Camille, you guys are all on deck. Amanda says, I recently went through a breakup with a Sag rising Cancer sun. Oof. I'm a 29-degree Virgo rising and a Cap sun in the 4th house. Can you pull some cards regarding my future romantic relationship? If timing and any specifics are available, please provide as well. Your Virgo risings, you got Saturn and Neptune going through your 7th, right? Where people like vanish or they're acting kind of ghosty or maybe acting kind of crazy. And you've got retrogrades and stuff that's going to be going through there. So likely this is going to be something that's going to be playing out through about end of April. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. What can we tell Amanda about this breakup with a Sag rising Cancer sun? Any timing or anything we could see in regards to the future of a romantic relationship? Got the cards in this order. Some thoughts on this. I don't know necessarily. I don't really know necessarily where this is going to go. It's not often that I say this because when I see the Fool card and I see the High Priestess card, it kind of feels like there are some things that are yet to be revealed and there are some things that have not been set in stone yet. I think about being a 29-degree Virgo rising, and when you have Saturn and Neptune on the 7th, you've got people who are running away or they're afraid of their secrets, okay? Or there's mental health issues. Sometimes there can be addiction issues. Sometimes they're afraid of, commitment. I think of being a Sag rising and having Saturn and Neptune going through the 4th house, and it means that they need to be alone right now, or they're dealing with family issues or emotional issues or problems from their upbringing that they're kind of working through. The Fool card being in the first position, I kind of feel like there's definitely a sense of you going, okay, we kind of barreled into this, right? We had this in another reading. We kind of barreled into the relationship. We were doing this thing. It felt great. Everything was amazing. We were really focused on just kind of being in the moment and going along with things. But I betcha, all right, being that they're a Sag rising with Saturn and Jupiter, you're their Jupiter. You're the person who is supposed to be saying in their 7th house, go do life with me. Let's travel. Let's move in together. Let's get married. Let's do all these things. Let's have fun. And Saturn in the 4th house is like a weight, and it means that they're having a difficult time pulling themselves out of the past or getting out of the house or pulling themselves out of a funk. So the Fool card is saying you've been kind of going along with things, but throughout however long you guys have been together, the Five of Wands is saying there's been some red flags. There's been some problems. There's been some challenges. No relationship's easy, but certainly it feels like there is some conflicting energies that are going on between the two of you, and it does reflect in your chart, Saturn, Neptune squares. Five of Wands also feels like an uphill battle to me. This feels like you're trying to get somewhere and everything is a fight, or there's some pushback, or there's some challenge, and you feel like you're not really working together cohesively. You're not working as a team. Even though you guys should be excited about doing things together, planning things, talking about a future, you know, the Five of Wands is like you try to include them in things and they're just kind of, you know, beating you down. So I don't think that the relationship is necessarily perfect. Once again, no relationship is, but there's been some issues here. And so if it's in the current position, it's basically saying like there's still some stuff where you guys are not on the same wavelength. Somebody is trying to proceed forward, or somebody is actually trying to kind of take the lead, and the other person is basically trying to kind of thwart any forward motion. And the High Priestess coming up, for me, that's why I said, like, I don't know. You know, the High Priestess card can mean intuitively, you may already know your answer. It could also mean that you're waiting for the answers, or you're waiting for signs or symbols from the universe that you guys could reconnect. Knowing that you're going to have retrogrades in your 7th, a person can come back to you. Knowing that they're going to have retrogrades in their 5th, you know, if they work on themselves, their self-love, they clear some of these issues, they are alone for a little bit, they can actually be a better partner. I think that the High Priestess card is also saying that there's still more to be revealed. Bottom of the deck says the Queen of Wands. So perhaps this is you kind of channeling that energy, being somebody who's like a little bit more kind of matter of fact, and also kind of like focused on yourself and like what you got going on. This could also mean that there is somebody who either supports you, guides you, gives you some kind of advice. This is also an intuitive card, as there's a cat that's on this card. You can see the black cat that's at her feet. I don't think it's a matter of other people. I don't think there's anything like that. So I don't know why you guys broke up or like what happened, but I really feel like the only way forward is to get out of this kind of combativeness where you're feeling like some of the shit that's coming up in your guys' relationship is the fact that maybe they say they want to be in a relationship, but there has been signs all along that they're not ready. They haven't dealt with the past. They haven't healed things. They're not trying to be a team player. They want to be kind of a stick in the mud. And that if you guys are going to come together, you're not going to be the person who is going to be pushing them forward. You're not going to be working as hard. You're going to be more focused on being able to create rather than to feel like you're being combative with someone, right? So the cards aren't saying one way or the other. You know, that's why I said I don't know, because the Fool card is saying you could go around again with this person. You could go get back on the carousel and you could do it again. But you're going to find yourself in the same situation where you're going to be like, why are you making it so hard to be in a relationship? Like, what's the problem? What's going on? And then the High Priestess card is saying that you're going to realize you're going to have some kind of download or epiphany where you're like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Clearly there is something that's wrong. And unless they decide to come and tell me what's up, I'm not going to continue to keep trying to pry or fix the situation or tell them, hey, let's work it out, because I feel like it's going to be at a detriment to your self-esteem. I also feel like it's going to be something that is going to keep you from being able to move forward with some of your own personal goals, as the Queen of Wands is very much about that. You know, like I said, I don't know how long you guys have been together, but I have yet to meet a Virgo rising going through the Saturn-Neptune transit that has not been shocked or surprised by something going on with a partner. Mental health can be a huge issue. You know, depression with Saturn and Neptune in the 7th. We can also see secrets and things that they're hiding and things that they don't want to kind of come clean about. And I wonder if the next month or two, there is going to be this epiphany or this unveiling where you're like, wow, they were really struggling, you know, with some inner child stuff, or maybe they were having issues with, you know, their career, or maybe they were struggling with addiction and like they weren't telling me. So at least the High Priestess is saying you're going to be tapped in, or you're going to gain some clarity, but that can't be your problem, because I can see you've been trying to push for moving forward, but you've got somebody who has been throwing every which way till Sunday excuses and reasons for why they cannot. And that's stuff that they have to deal with. That's not necessarily something that you can fix. Hopefully that's helpful. Circle back. Let me know what happens. I wonder what the catch is. I really do wonder what the catch is, because there is definitely one there. There's something that you can't see, but you're going to end up either having a dream or having a feeling about it. Butterfly High says, random question. What are some indications in a chart about accidents or natural death? 8th house cusp, 8th house ruler, transits maybe to the 4th house, the 8th house ruler, progressions into the 8th house, eclipses in the 8th house, the point of death, if you guys use the Arabic lots, you can actually calculate the point of death. And I've been doing that a little bit in recent years. And I have definitely noticed one of my secret herbs and spices, not for the faint of heart, obviously. You can go to, I think it's Libra Center, and there's a Arabic lots calculator. So you put in all the points for different things. There's like a point of marriage, point of death, point of fame, all these points. You can work with midpoints too. And there's a point of death. And I have seen now over the last 2 or 3 years, the point of death has come up in a solar return for clients that have passed. So I didn't look at it till after the fact, but after they died, I went and looked at the point of death, and then I looked at the solar return. And if it's like on the cusp of the IC, if it's on the cusp of the 8th house, if there is a malefic planet like Mars, Saturn, or Pluto on that degree, or it's getting hit by the eclipses, yeah, you can definitely tell. I don't recommend doing that because then you have an idea of one of your exit strategies, and then also you're like paranoid because if you know the sign on your 8th house cusp or the sign associated with your point of death, then you're like, oh, now I know how I'm going to die. All right, Whitney will be next, and then we've got Camille and Rachel, or Solara. Virgo rising, Taurus sun, Cappy moon, Earth mama. May I have a 3-card reading, please? Like many of us, I'm stressed at work with productivity demands and a coworker. I'm casually glancing the want ads for different employment, but I don't see anything I think I am well suited for. Should I tough it out in the current workplace? Thanks for your insight. I was listening to a Vedic astrologer who was talking about the Virgo midheaven and that these individuals, whether Western or Vedic, generally don't feel like their career is settled until like after 35, sometimes even 40. And I was like, that's interesting because Gemini is mutable. So it's like changeable or kind of doing this or that, or there's a back and forth. You have to look at your 10th house ruler. But knowing that Pluto's now in your 6th house where you're like, this is hell, you know, or like dealing with hellish people at work or schedules. And then Jupiter has also been in your 7th house, your 10th house. It hasn't helped because of the squares to the 7th. But Uranus is about to go in Gemini. So there's definitely about to be a huge shakeup, a new job, a new schedule, new coworkers, something like that is going to be coming for all of my Virgo risings. So let's take a look. Let's see what we can tell you about whether or not there's something new on the horizon or if you should tough it out. In this order, 2 of Cups, 7 of Cups, 2 of Swords. To be like direct in between the eyes, I feel like if you go looking for a new job right now, okay, I do feel like you would be offered something. But I feel like you would be like, do I want to leave? Do I not? Like, am I just going from the pot to the frying pan? Like where I'm at now, I don't like it, but I definitely feel like it's doable. Like I can manage, you know? And then when you get into another situation, you're like, I don't really know how it's going to go, right? So then the 2 of Swords is about being indecisive. So this leads me to believe if you go looking for something, the 2 of Cups means sure, you'll get an interview. Somebody will talk to you. They'll be interested in you. Heck, you might even get offered a position. But I think that you're going to kind of have a moment of reevaluation and you're going to be kind of stuck because you're going to be clouded and confused or fearful. And that's going to lead you to being indecisive and not necessarily making a decision or pulling the plug immediately, right? I think about also knowing that Uranus is going to go into your 10th house in July. It's like, you know, you could wait until then if that's what you want to do. I would probably advise you to go looking for something actually when you have the new moon in Gemini because it's going to be conjunct Mercury and Jupiter will just be leaving signs. You can also look at your natal Mercury in your chart. Part of this is also 7 of Cups in the current position means like you said, I'm looking at stuff, but you know, what I'm looking at, you know, is not really suited for me. And I think that this is about you going back and forth being like, well, I don't know, could I do this? Could I not? I would say take a step back, remind yourself that you are highly, you know, employable, that people would want to work with you, that you do have a set of skills and I think experience that people would want. The 7 of Cups means rather than getting overwhelmed and trying to be like, I could do this or I could do that, or trying to kind of stretch or contort yourself in all these different ways to maybe fit a certain job description, you're not going to do that. That's not what you're doing. You're going to be focusing more on gaining clarity in the right now and figuring out what it is you do want. Rather than looking at the ads, maybe it's about you going and combing through, your resume and deciding whether or not you want to put your resume up. It could also mean that you're doing some meditations, or you're creating a vision board, or you're visualizing and getting creative about all of the very specific things that you would want in a job or a position that would actually give you the confidence and the willingness and the clarity, Two of Swords, to go and make a job change. Really, a lot of it's on you. Two of Swords and the Seven of Cups is saying until you get clear about what you want and you've decided, yes, I do want to leave. I'm telling the universe I want to leave. In some situations with this, I would say to a client, well, you have to be willing to leave your job, right? I don't think that's the case with you. Two of Cups is saying there's still a fair exchange. You can work where you're working, but gaining clarity about very specifically what, if a job were to pop up, what would it offer you? What would it entail? Where would it be? What would the requirements be? What the status or the title would be? What would the salary be? That would justify you leaving. And I would focus on that, because if you can get clear, you have to tell the universe what you want, then you're going to be receiving something in exchange. But until you have clarity, you're going to be undecisive, you're going to go into potential meetings, or you're going to go into interviews and people are going to offer you things and you're going to be like, I don't know if I'm ready to go. Rather than putting yourself in that situation because you can't trust that incoming job, I highly recommend creating a vision board and focusing on what you do want to do. Go in and look at the new moon in Gemini. Okay, so I think that's going to be in May. Not very far. You can keep looking between now and then, but I think that if you get clarity, it'll help you really make that leap sometime between May and July. And trust me, when your honest goes into Gemini, you're going to be like, bing, I'm out of here. Because it's going to trine Pluto. So you can get ahead of that energy if you want. You can prepare, and also knowing that Jupiter is going to be in your sign for the better part of still another couple months. Until June. So when Mercury and Jupiter meet, they're going to be right at the late degrees of Gemini. And that's probably going to be that turning point for you where it's going to be like, oh, I'm so glad that I was really clear about what I wanted. Now I have this second thing I can pivot to and I feel more comfortable and like I can actually trust where I'm going, right? Vision board, baby. Otherwise, if you're not sure, then you're going to get a bunch of mixed results from the universe. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Good luck. Readings are closed. Readings are closed. I will do an update in just a second, let you guys know. Good luck. Let me know what you end up finding. But yeah, I guess my answer is tough it out for right now. All right, we've got Camille, Rachel, and then Jennifer. Camille, do I have another reading for you? I saw you at the top. Unless there's another one, let me know. I've got Rachel, Jennifer, and Vanessa. Rachel says, work. Is it a good time to ask my boss for the position I want? Thank you. Libra moon, Libra rising, Taurus sun. Definitely a Venusian mama with all those placements. All right, Rachel, let's see. Is now the time to ask your boss for the position you want? Well, Mars is direct, right? So you're taking charge at work as a Libra rising. Is this going to be the card of the night? I swear to God. The Fool. Well, it's saying, you can take the risk. You can take the risk if you want to take the risk. Sometimes the Fool is like, now or never, might as well do it. Negotiations are not strong with Mars in this sign. As many of you guys have kind of seen some of the events today, Mars does not negotiate very well in Cancer. And so I think that I would wait, if this were me, for when Venus is in a trine with Mars. And I will give you that date really quick. Because I feel like the Fool is saying, like, you could do it, but you might be jumping into something haphazardly. So Venus is going to come into a trine with Mars. Right around April 4th through about the 14th. That would be a better time. You got tarot and astrology on that one. That would be a better time, because I feel like the Fool card is saying, you know, you could do it, and maybe you feel like it's like rushed, or like you get in and you're like all eager and emotionally you're really incentivized with the Queen of Cups being your confirmation card to get that. But I feel like it can be something that it's like you approach them and they're like, it's not the right time, not now, you know, we'll get back to you. And then you kind of like blow the opportunity to feel like it's giving you that window. I would do it during the dates that I gave you, because I think they're going to be better. But I do feel like the Fool card is saying, like, at least you have now gotten to the point where you're like, I'm willing to do it. Now I'm going to ask. And for a lot of Libra and Libra risings, knowing that Jupiter is going to go into Cancer in June, knowing that we're going to have an amazing, who's looked at the new moon in Cancer? Have you guys looked at that new moon that we're going to have? Cancer, we're going to have Sun, Moon, Venus, and Jupiter all in the same signs. I believe Jupiter is going to be there. Let me double check this. I believe. I don't want to tell you guys that and have you guys like plan something. Hold on, let me look. But I'm pretty sure Jupiter is going to be there. Yeah. Venus will be in Taurus. I take that back. So it'll be Jupiter, Moon, and the Sun and the new moon all conjunct. So Libras and Libra risings, end of June, from then on, it's like everything's going to take off. So maybe wait until the end of April to do that. Okay, hopefully that's helpful for you, Rachel. I've got Jennifer, Cecilia, and then Vanessa. And if you don't see your name, don't worry. I'll do an update one in just a second. I don't think we've updated the queue yet. So we've got Jennifer, Vanessa, and Matt. Jennifer says, hi, Sag rising, Cancer, Moon, Virgo, Sun. Looking for clarity on my relationship. Well, Sag rising, Jupiter in the 7th. Okay. He's a Virgo, Sun, Libra rising. I'm reading your message. He betrayed and lied to me for quite some time, and he wants to be with me. Make amends and repair. But I'm unsure if he can do that, and if he's ready for a relationship, even after all that it would take to repair, or if he would actually change because of this and work on his personal growth and be able to do things and take his actions to be safe and healthy partner that I need. Those are the cards we're going to read. Two extra cards came out. Devil card, King of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. I think that's pretty appropriate. You're dealing with an earth sign. You're very emotionally involved and invested. Queen of Cups with him. The devil in the past, I mean, look, the reason I'm reading these is because they jumped out, just FYI. The devil card in the past is saying, like, there's been some problems. Like, the devil card is about being bound, being stuck, being limited, maybe feeling like you've been stuck in the relationship and like stuck in these like toxic patterns and things you've been trying to get out of, and it's like hard for you to remove yourself from that. It sounds like you're pretty clear though, you know, with that Sag rising, that you're like, I'm not really wanting to go back. Like, you know that he hasn't been honest. You also know that he's made mistakes. He's saying that he wants to fix them. Part of me feels inclined to tell you, if he's a Libra rising, okay, and he's having an eclipse in the 7th house, it's going to be about a partner or a person from the past kind of telling him what's up or what's on their mind. I also feel like now that the retrograde is going through his 7th house with Mercury, he's wanting to connect with them because he feels lonely. And that's because the South Node is now in his 12th house. So he's realizing what he needs to work on. If you've got a broken Libra rising, I would not touch them with a 10-foot pole until May. Personally, that's just me being judgmental. And I can say that because I'm a Libra rising. I think the King of Pentacles says he has potential. I think this is saying that he has potential to work on his ways, to be able to work through some of his problems. A lot of it's going to be about ownership, accountability, and time. If he can physically show you that he's made the necessary changes, because this is about actions, not just about words. And the Queen is facing the King. So she's saying, like, I'm watching you. Like, I can see what you're doing. I'm going to see whether or not you're bettering yourself. The issue that I have is that a lot of his transits talk about as a Virgo sun, still going through a relationship where he's not being honest with somebody and he's like hurting someone or potentially, you know, putting them in a situation that it could really emotionally or psychologically impact them. And also the retrograde is going into his 6th house, which means he needs to go and work on his health or his habits. So it could be sexual habits, drug habits, emotional habits, psychological issues, that kind of stuff that he needs to work through, which, by the way, come up with the Devil card because it's about feeling stuck in a habit. These are the 2 extra cards that popped up. I'm just reading them because they did. 4 of Coins is saying that you may consider giving him about 4 months to kind of work on his stuff, or that you're going to say, I'm going to hold off. I'm not physically committing to you. I'm not sleeping with you. I'm not, you know, exchanging anything with you. I'm not going into anything financially with you. I'm just going to sit here and wait. And ultimately at the end, the 9 of Wands is basically saying, if you decide to do this, you're going to feel like, I wasted time, or I stood around and I waited for you to get your act together and you still didn't do it. I also feel inclined to tell you that since you're a Sag rising and a Virgo moon, Virgo sun, you're going to see eclipses that are going to give you opportunities for relationships, right? You will. And a lot of it's about ends of relationships because it's in your 4th house. So you have to put an end to something. Jupiter transits are going to go through your 7th, which means it can bring you another person. I would not give this a long period of time. I would basically say I'm either going to give him 4 weeks or I'm going to give him until the end of the 4th month of the year. So it could be the end of April, could be 4 months from now, right? However you decide to play this. But actually in your mind, you need to create a timeline. And I would say it's about not physically committing or being too available or giving him too much, I think, access to you with the 4 of Coins. So you can wait and see, but I think with the 9 of Wands, unfortunately, it looks like you're going to be disappointed, and you're going to be like, man, you know, I got kind of beat up the first go around, and then I gave you a chance, and like I was willing to kind of like help you or be there for you, and like you still left me kind of like high and dry. And as much as I hate to say that, the astrology does mirror a lot of the same things. You'd have to look at the composite chart. You'd have to see what's going on with your 2 charts together, but that sounds like a Libra rising Virgo sun that needs to go and work on their habits, and they need to actually be aware of how their lack of self-control is actually creating a lot of damage in relationships. I hope I'm wrong. Come back and let me know what happens, Jennifer. Okay, so we've got Vanessa, Matt, Kendra, Jessica, Janae, Jacqueline, Tanya, Miss Martin, David, Brandon, Kimberly, Nay in the Bay, Adriana, Briana, and Roy. Okay, if you hear your name, that means you got in before the readings closed, and you guys will get a reading. Otherwise, for everybody else watching, I'll see you next time I'm here. All right, so let's move now on to Vanessa. What's up, Vanessa? All right. Hi. My godmother passed away on the 8th. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. She was a Taurus sun, Libra moon. Some weird occurrences have happened within the last few weeks. I heard silverware ruffling around in my kitchen at 3 a.m., wondering if it was her or another entity trying to connect with me. Any clarity on that? I really miss her. Does she have anything she's trying to tell me? Also, a friend of mine has become distant. She's recently had 2 gatherings and did not invite me, and was cold to my daughter when she ran into her recently. I ask why, or should I leave the friendship in the past? Lastly, I see there is a dispatcher position that opened up. Is this the right time to apply and right potential career choice for me? All right, so we're gonna do godmother, what's up with the friend who is not so friendly to your daughter, and whether or not this dispatcher position is for you. You're not the first person to tell me that they have had somebody pass and they hear like weirdness with silverware or like dishes. That's actually pretty common. All right, so this is godmother. This is, okay, this is gonna be the friend, and this is going to be the position. I love that the card that you get for the godmother is Queen of Wands. She's come up a couple times tonight. Basically being like, hey, I'm here, you know. Especially if she was somebody who really prided herself on socializing, connecting, entertaining, right? If she liked to be loud and kind of like the center of the party, and somebody who was like very kind of like just out there, very vocal and very fun, like lively. I do think that if a queen comes up and you're asking me a question about her, I feel like that's definitely validation. That's like, yeah, she's around. And also she's trying to make connections. She's trying to make things happen. It's action, energy, right? That's why we hear, oh, lights, frequencies, things like that, or hearing things kind of move or rattle is usually trying to get our attention. I do feel like this is a positive card because it does kind of indicate that she is trying to make a connection. She is okay energetically. She's fine. Clearly, she's at peace. She's passed. There's no issues there. But I do feel like this is about, as a reminder, maybe she's a protector for you still. You know, you've got the woman that's sitting with the cat, and the cat can represent the intuition or the guide or the spirit guide that's like relaying information, or maybe this is a symbol. So you might look for, you know, yellow, sunflowers, black cats, other things that might potentially give you some kind of direction, or it might serve as kind of like an awareness or like a reminder, like, hey, that's, you know, that's her. She's kind of coming around. I remember back in the day when I was working in LA, when I was working at House of Intuition, there was a guy that worked there that I worked with. His name was Offie. He still does readings. And right around the time that he started working there, I was like, let me go like talk to him. Like, let me see what's up with him. I did a reading with him, and he said, I had just moved into like a little place in East Hollywood, and he had said to me, do you ever notice that there's a black cat that comes around your house that has like a white diamond on its forehead? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, there was like this black cat as soon as I moved in that started coming around, coming up on the patio, meowing, and I didn't know if the people there fed him or not. The cat would hang out by my little, I had like a little waterfall, and I started feeding the cat, and the cat would come around regularly and just hang out. You could pet the cat. I was like not a cat person. Anyway, but it was so spooky that he was like, the cat has a white diamond on its head. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, that's your great grandmother and your cat. The cat comes through and like keeps an eye on your house and protects your house, and like will make sure nothing happens to your home. And all these break-ins and things were happening. The neighborhood was like going south. But reminds me of that he kind of said to me, look for this omen, look for this symbol. You know, somebody's going to come through, and that'll be your symbol that they're protecting you. So she's around, but also it's kind of like that bridge to giving you confirmation and things intuitively to keep you safe. In regards to the distant friend who is being kind of frosty, I get the 10 of Wands, which this is a card that makes me feel like it's like you going like, it's going to be too much work, or this is too much hassle, or maybe you feel like, hey, my daughter was going out of her way to like be nice to you or to offer help, or, you know, to kind of engage with you, and like she acted like she couldn't be bothered. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I feel like the 10 of Wands can indicate if you're questioning whether or not you should not participate in the friendship or leave the friendship. You might look at it as this is an upward battle. Like it's challenging. Like it's challenging making plans with her. It's challenging getting her to be receptive. Maybe you feel like, you know, it's a hassle whenever you're talking to her, hanging out with her, or she makes it seem like she doesn't have time. So you might look at it as if, hey, this is just becoming so challenging, just spending time with somebody who I thought was my friend. You might feel like it's just too much for you to carry, and that it feels like you don't want to be treated like you're a burden. And certainly if you feel like that's how your daughter is being treated, or that she's too busy, you know, to kind of interact with your daughter, or, you know, be peaceful or kind to her, that you're going to be like, this is not worth even putting in the effort if I'm not really feeling like this is a mutual connection. It's like, it's not a two-way street. Then the final card that you get for the dispatcher position, interesting, Temperance comes up. So this is definitely a card that deals with timing. As you know, being a, from what I remember, I think you're a Cancer rising. You have to remind me, but I think you are. Having eclipses and retrogrades in the 10th house, I think that this can mean for a lot of like Cancer and Cancer risings. I know you're a Virgo. There's a shift that's coming. There's a shift that can come with your career. You got a solar eclipse in your 10th house, which can be a new beginning, but there's 2 retrogrades there at the same time, which means you might feel like you're going into it, but it's a slow development. You apply, you're going back and forth, you're doing, you know, interviews, and you're like, okay, when do I start? When am I getting in? When are you going to tell me if I got the job? I say that because the Temperance card is about timing. So it's about finding the right time to feel like you can connect. It can be also saying like you're having to be patient. Maybe you apply for the job and then you're like, okay, you know, I'm going to see how it goes. And it's a process, whether it's getting in there, doing the training, anything like that. Right time, you will segue and you will make a move. And I will say for my Cancer risings, Saturn and Neptune going into your 10th house means you're going into a job that's going to be like emergency, got to start now, got to get going, doing something new, being in a very kind of quick moving job. So I think it's good for you, but it might just be saying that it's just a matter of timing. So definitely apply. I think that's a good idea. I don't think you're going to have a problem doing it. I think that it's about pacing yourself through the process of either getting in there, you know, applying, training, whatever, and then being patient as you kind of get a response. But many of you guys are actually going to change jobs. And I think the Temperance card can be working in a field where you're calming people down, you're helping them, you know, a lot about communication and also being like, okay, let me talk you through something. So that can also be the connection to kind of being in like the health field as well. Anyway, I hope that's helpful in giving you some insight. Really cool that you've been able to connect with your godmother. They're usually most active at the later parts of the evening or morning, so that doesn't surprise me. All right, so moving on, we have got now Kurt and Kendra and Jessica. What's up, Kurt? Who I am now. What's your first name? And I will double check. So Kirk says, I've been having some health anxiety this week, and I just want to check and see if my guides have any messages for me. This particular area of my body has been checked by my doctor several times, and I'm doing my checkups, follow-ups, but my anxiety can still get the best of me. Is there anything in particular the guides want me to know? Sounds like the Aries rising stuff, right? Like the eclipse in the 6th and letting go of the stress and anxiety in the 12th. And obviously you're getting a reading, so that makes sense. But let's see if I can shine a light on that as to what your guides want you to know about this health matter and whether or not you have something to worry about or if there's something that you should be doing differently. I did get yours, David. You were a couple people down the list, but I've got you. All right, this is for you, Kurt. All right, so in this order, we've got 8 of Cups, the Sun card, and the Ace of Wands. I love that we've seen this combo a couple times. This is a good sign, especially being an Aries rising. 8 of Cups, all right? So you're like, I've gone to the doctor, I've gone back to the doctor, I've had everything checked up, I went and did all of my tests, we went through the results, and you're like, I'm not going back anymore. Like, I'm driving myself crazy, or, you know, I'm finally moving on from this. It can mean that there has been a lot of emotional turmoil and stress, that there's like fear that something that's going to come up that's going to require you to go back, and you're moving away from that. It can also mean that maybe there's been some sense of like anticipating or expecting that there is going to be a health crisis as well. And so now you're picking up and you're moving on from that. Obviously the 8 of Cups is like, I'm not going back there. It might mean that it could kind of correspond with considering changing, you know, practitioners, or maybe that you're going to go into a different kind of practice altogether. Maybe you're going to decide that you're moving away from Western medicine. You want to work with a naturopath or a holistic doctor or a functional medicine doctor, that you want to work with somebody who maybe is going to kind of give you more peace of mind. So maybe you're walking away from the type of doctors that you're working with. That's one option. But one thing is for sure, you're like, I'm actually ready to move away from this. And something I'll say about 8s is that they're very psychological. You know, I think about how Aries risings are going to have their health lord and also their 7th house lord retrograde in the 12th. So getting clarity from a therapist, getting clarity from a reading, also hypnotherapy can be very powerful right now. Past life regression, like it will work wonders. So if there's something you're stressing out or worrying about, I think about this because it's saying it's about, you know, finally developing the necessary emotional skills to feel like you can deal with these emotions, you can process them, and you can move on. Meditation coaches, breathing work, that can be helpful as well. But it seems like you're really ready to say, okay, I'm ready to let this stop having some kind of control over me. The Sun card. This is about overcoming challenges. In the current position, it means shining a light on a situation. Maybe it means it's more about acknowledging and reminding yourself, hey, you know, I've had these tests, everything's clear. I've gotten this feedback, everything's good. I've had these scans, everything's clear. Like you might have to literally cancel out some of those thoughts and remind yourself, I am okay. And this is something that's really important in general throughout this retrograde and eclipse period, because Aries is the physical body and it is especially connected to men. Mercury is health, right? And as we see the retrogrades from the sign of Aries, which is the self, the first thing we do in the morning, into Pisces, it means that where intention goes, energy flows. So if we're telling ourselves, I have anxiety, my stress, you know, my poor health, my poor diet, my bad mental health, my lack of sleep, we're owning that. We're literally owning that. So there is like this need to completely restructure and rework what we're saying, what we're thinking about, how it has like power over us. And I feel like the Sun card is saying you can use that energy in a very similar way that can be positive. So if you notice yourself regressing and kind of doing the doom spiral, you could go, I am healthy, you know, I am okay. All of the tests have come back fine. It is, you know, negative in a good way, negative results or negative findings. It can also mean that you're using that as a way to kind of balance out some of your emotions and some of this energy, and it's about shining a light on it. Nope, we're going to focus on the positive. We're not going to kind of do like the death spiral. And also good news. So even if you have had health issues, or for whatever reason, if there were to be health issues coming up, which I don't see, that there is a solution, right? That you will be fine, that you will overcome. It's not going to be something that's going to be an issue. And then we've got the Ace of Wands coming up, which is about, you know, taking action, being passionate, being creative. I'll go as far as saying maybe one of the concerns is, how would this impact me, right? If, let's just play the if game. If this was a serious medical issue, how would it impact you in an Ace of Wands way? Is it going to keep you from being active, if you get what I'm saying? Is it going to keep you from dating, having children? Is it going to keep you from living an active lifestyle? Is it going to keep you from feeling like you're a man? I mean, this is a very masculine card, you know? So I think that this is about kind of recognizing and realizing that that's not the case. And I really feel like you're going to be able to still have all of those capabilities. You're still going to be able to be active and healthy, and also I think vibrant. And the Ace of Wands is about being able to create things, or being able to feel like you still have options, or that there is some kind of like vitality. It's a good sign of good health. I would want to see the Ace of Wands, or I'd want to see the Ace of Coins. The Ace of Wands is saying, look, you're proactive. You've done everything that you need to do. And also you're going to continue to be proactive. Although I don't see any challenges coming up in your future, I would just say let's redirect the energy and focus on how you can be reminding yourself that everything is okay. So you're moving out of some of these old patterns where you're expecting something to be wrong. Hopefully that's helpful for you. All right, so we have got Kendra, Jessica, Janae. You guys are all on the queue. You're up next. I get confused because I saw Rodney and then I see Kendra. So this is for Kendra. So please, 3 cards, please. I'm not really sure what to ask, so just whatever comes up. I'm really feeling the pressure as a Virgo rising, Virgo sun, Aquarius moon. I'm actually trying to leave a very toxic relationship I've been in for 10 years. Pause, right? Virgo rising, Saturn, Neptune in the 7th. Trying to get back out on my own, get my own place for me and my children. It seems so impossible with the price of housing and going from 2 incomes to 1. I haven't left yet, but hopefully soon. Thanks, Kurt. All right, Kendra. Well, I feel you on that. Hopefully I can give you some good insight so that way you can get into a better situation for you and your children that is positive and safe. And let's see what the cards say about making this transition. As you know, having all those retrogrades in your 7th house could mean that there could be some stuff coming up where you're starting to see some addiction, mental health issues, some heavy stuff coming up with your partner, okay? And it's about kind of, with retrogrades, we can undo something, undo commitments, marriages, partnerships. Holy cow, you got a whole lot of wands here, girl. 5 of Wands, Page of Wands, King of Wands. I feel like this is about taking the situation and going, I have no other choice but to fight for myself or stand up for myself. And there's like this evolution from what seems very kind of like archaic. Everybody's like beating themselves up and fighting, to deciding that you're going to go in a new direction and you're going to evolve, to, you know, being the boss or handling the situation and like taking charge. So whenever we see a bunch of wands, it's combative, right? There is a lot of either energy that's charging the situation. There is a lot of also action. There is also this pressure to make a move. This is the element of fire. 5 of Wands in the previous position does make me feel like maybe in the past you've been fighting with them or going back and forth with them about what they should or should not be doing, or maybe feeling like you've been kind of embattled during the relationship and you really haven't had an opportunity to speak your piece or stand up for yourself, or you've been constantly feeling like you're being beat down or you're being berated. And so that's what you're working away from, because obviously if you see the page, it's like, I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm actually going in a different direction. I'm walking away from the conflict. So it tells me that you're becoming more passive or dismissive, or you're not engaging as much and you're focusing more on where you're going rather than trying to kind of fix something that you feel like is not salvageable. This can also mean that there is inspiration that comes from a younger person. So it could be a son or a daughter that you have, or one of your kids that are like, Mom, I don't want to live here anymore. You know, I don't want to be around Dad. Like, you may hear some of that stuff. It can also mean that this is incentivizing you to pick up a new skill. Okay, like pages are super handy and crafty. They're children. They're meant to be students. So they're learning something new. So this means that, you know, you're proactively focusing on what you can do to get yourself out of this situation. Literally, the Page of Wands for me would be like, I'm walking dogs, I'm house sitting, you know, I am willing to, you know, work with younger children or do some house sitting or some animal sitting or watching children. I'm willing to do some tutoring, you know, I'm willing to do some training, whatever I have to do. It's about taking action and being like, I'm going to do some of this stuff so I can start making some extra cash. Yes, you may feel like you got your hands full, you know, having kids and also having a job, but this is something that could be lucrative that you can do on the side. And I feel like whoever this person is, whether it's your kid or if it's you, that's like, I will help you. Like, you might be hearing that. I'm reading your messages as we go. Been very chaotic and combative. Feels like now or never. My oldest, definitely. I'm very cold to him and I'm so done. I need a second job to make this feel. Well, okay, so you can do that. You'll be able to do that. I think that this might be something that starts off as like a side gig or something that you're doing that's more passive, and it will evolve into something where you may have a business. You may actually end up doing a lot better than you think. I think actually one of the biggest challenges that I see here is that you are going to end up becoming more independent and being able to leave. And then when the time comes for you to leave, my concern is that he's putting the kid or the kids in the middle, because we've got a page in the middle, the king is facing the page, and it's like saying like, oh, you're going to leave with her? You know, and then it's putting them in a situation where it's like the kids are kind of being forced to feel like they're choosing, when in reality, I think they're going to want to go. I also think that the King of Wands is about putting on your game face and being like, you know what, I got to suck it up and do what's best right now, you know, for the family. And all of this energy is, yeah, it's challenging, but it's actually incentivizing you to make a change. Likely what you will see when you see some transits going on after the retrogrades and the eclipses in your 7th house, you could break away. I mean, you will have an eclipse that's going to be in your 7th house in September of this year. So maybe it's a process between now and then to kind of get the show on the road and make those changes. I know that for Virgo risings, there's going to be a lot of retrogrades going through the 8th house, which is assessing money. So there can also be like moving money around or trying to get taxes back, paying stuff off, opening separate accounts. That might be something that you end up doing. And I would just say, be mindful that anything you're doing where you're making changes with joint money, it can be seen, okay? So it can be seen and it will come out in the relationship, and then it's gonna be like, what are you doing? I have a friend who went through a similar situation. I think this is pretty common. I hear about this from clients who kind of go through this. And one thing that I was talking to her about is I was like, look, and she was a Virgo rising. I was like, as you're going through this, you know, there's going to be a lot of discrepancy over what's yours and what's theirs. The only way to break out of that is to start making your own money and also start setting money aside or start investing money. So something you could consider doing is like, man, you go to the grocery store, you're going shopping, and every time you go shopping, you know, you're doing cash back. And I hate to be like that, but it's like, if you feel like you can't have privacy when it comes to transactions or your money or, you know, your joint income or whatever, you're taking money out, you're setting it aside, or you're deciding, okay, my paychecks come in, I'm setting money aside. So you're bulking things up, making it possible for you to have that fallback so you can actually kind of break free. It would be specific to your chart and also your composite chart, but I can tell you an eclipse in your 7th house is definitely going to bring some kind of conclusion or completion in mid-September, and it will trine Jupiter in your 11th house, which means likely you'll have support of a friend or an ally who can help you through some of the changes with your marriage. Okay? Hopefully that's helpful. Be strong. And also remember, you know, if you got little ones at home, you've got kids, even if they're not little, even if they're teenagers, like, they're seeing how they should or should not treat a partner. And that, I think, is incentive enough to be like, nope, I'm not going to keep my kid in this environment. Like, I'm going to be leaving and showing them that they don't treat people like this, and they also don't stay in relationships and be treated this way. Sending you lots of love as you go through that, but it looks like you're going to be super proactive in the process. I will literally have us out close, starting for the ground up everything, pretty much because I just started back to work after 10 years. Well, I mean, good time to definitely start coming up with a plan, because as Saturn is going in and out of your 7th house, it can give you the opportunity to kind of definitively break away. Good luck. Community is going to be so helpful for you. You need other mom friends with Jupiter going into your 11th house. Mom friends, and also there's good turning points with work and career stuff. All right, we've got Jessica, and then we've got Janae, and then Jacqueline. Thank you guys for your patience. I appreciate it. If you haven't already given me a thumbs up, smash the like button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Jessica says, I am a Sun in Aries, Taurus moon, Virgo rising. Are you guys okay? I know this is difficult. You guys are going through the changes. Okay, I haven't felt this stuck for months, but I feel like something amazing is on the way. Can you tell me what you're seeing? Thank you. Well, I'm seeing for a lot of Virgo risings, out with the old, in with the new, that's for sure. This is for you, Jessica. You get the Page of Swords. I like that you're saying, I feel like something amazing is on the way. Like you're intuiting that something is about to change. Yes, that's definitely going to happen. I think the Page of Swords might be indicating that you're kind of fine-tuning your spidey senses. Maybe you're journaling, you're writing, you're thinking about, you know, ways that you can kind of shift your perspective, or shifting the way that you communicate with other people. Help may be coming in from a Gemini, from a Libra, or an Aquarius, air signs. This could also mean that you're really on the path to listening, reading, learning anything about self-betterment, right? Like bettering yourself and overcoming challenges, and it's all about shifting the way that you think about things. I think that's so appropriate right now. I think for a lot of Virgo risings with Mercury turning retrograde in the 8th house, you guys are like, I'm going to be focusing on, you know, how I can combat fear, or look at things in a different perspective, or be embracing change. I think that also this means that I would look at the air houses in your chart. So that's going to be Libra for money. That's going to be Aquarius for work and health. That's going to be Gemini for your career. So those are the places you're going to see change, because Pluto's in your 6th of health and habits. Jupiter's in your 10th of career. You're going to see Mars going through Libra this year, which is going to be a good money-making period. And redefining, I think, your self-esteem. And I think a lot of this is just starting with the fact that you're like, I am open. Like, I received the message and I'm open to some of these changes coming. I think probably some of the biggest positive things that's going to happen for Virgo risings is going to be career shifts. And also, as an Aries moon, you've got an eclipse coming on your moon, which is in your 8th house then. So this is about that embracing change and being brave in the face of what could potentially feel like a lot of real significant intimacy changes, psychological changes, things like that. Maybe keep a journal, be writing things down, and really practicing affirmations revolving around kind of welcoming this wave that's coming in. I know what that's like, man. I'm Libra rising. I had the South Node eclipses in my first house for almost 2 years, and now coming out of it, I feel like a completely different person. So, you know, the clearing can actually be really good. Like literally cleaning house is very therapeutic. Getting rid of things, you know, that you don't identify with anymore can help. All right, we have Janae, Jacqueline, and Tanya. You guys are all up next. Janae says, hi again, Candace. I'm an Aquarius rising, Cancer sun, Leo moon. I just met someone a couple days ago at a concert. I think I might like him. Okay, I kind of like him. I was wondering what insight these cards might have for me regarding the connection with this person. All right, Janae, well, let me see what I can tell you. I love that you have an Aquarius rising, Leo moon, and like you met somebody while the retrograde was going through 7th house, you know, obviously Leo, so it can be at a concert, a theater, anything like that. What's up, Rosie? And obviously a big turning point for Aquarius risings. You guys are going to have, you know, Uranus going into your 5th house. So lots of fun and love. Jupiter's there as well. Good for love. So let's see what the cards say about this dude that you met at a concert. Tell us about this connection. All right, so it was in this order. 3 of coins, 7 of wands, 8 of coins. Not a lot of cups, but still, this is like a solid build. I'm looking at that 7 of wands in the center position. What's challenging about you guys getting together? What is challenging about you guys getting together? Do you guys live in 2 different parts of town? Is somebody really busy working? Like, why does this seem like there's like a bit of like a cat and mouse game that's going on that is not entirely easy for physical connection? That's the only issue that I have. It seems more like overcoming some of the challenges that might be like in schedule or, you know, like actual location. But the 3 of coins coming up in the previous position is saying like, you know, you met somebody, 2 different states. 2 different states and he travels. There you go. So you met somebody who is working on themselves, which is actually probably kind of refreshing. Maybe you have felt like in the past, like relationship stuff or meeting people has been really difficult or very challenging. But now it's like you're actually connecting with somebody who has a better work-life balance. It's also somebody who I feel like has been working on themselves. They bring a lot to the table. 3 of coins can mean that this is somebody that might also introduce you to other people. So it can mean you meet them, you meet their friends, or, you know, they're introducing you to new people, you're introducing them to your friends, and that this is something that could be like built upon. Like there could be a really strong connection here. 7 of wands, like I said, represents that challenge where you've been kind of like, okay, well, how are we going to work this? What's going to go on here? How am I going to get to you? How are you going to get to me? And that doesn't mean it can hold you back, okay? 7 of wands is about like tackling the situation and being like, all right, I'm gonna get on top of this, let's make it happen. So it's about also not dropping the ball. So there can be this sense of being like, okay, in order for us to see each other, we're gonna actually have to put in some effort here. Texting each other, going back and forth, that's great, but what is that gonna become? So this is interesting that the 3 of coins is here, which is saying you guys are gonna have to put an effort in. I think you have somebody who would be willing to do that. I also feel like there is a shift that's coming where if you guys do make the effort to talk more, see each other, FaceTime, even travel to see one another, it can be rewarding because the 3 of coins is saying, okay, we're just going to try it out, see how it goes, see if it's a fit, if there's chemistry, and if like we could actually make this work. The 8 of coins is like, not only does it work, but it's worth actually making an effort and investing our time or our energy in. 8 of coins is about practicing time and time again, like doing something over and over and over until you get it right. It can also mean that it may take time for the 2 of you guys to come together, but in the process of that, it can be a long-lasting union. Like this can be something where you guys can have so much in common and you can be so much on the same page. That's like, man, we've put, you know, 8 months into the long distance. Like we're not walking away from this. Like we've gotten to know each other so much through that distance and having to put in the effort. Maybe we haven't had a lot of physical time together, but you're going to see it as all of that work was definitely, you know, worth it in the long term, and that it could be something that is a lasting union. So I don't think you're wasting your time. Both of you guys have to be on top of making sure you're doing your due diligence to see each other. But if you can do that, I think it could be something that could be really good for you in the long run. Hopefully that's helpful. And good for you, meeting somebody who has been doing the work. Well, I do have family close to his area and vice versa. So there you go. So you guys can definitely make that happen. You have a reason to go back and forth. Well, you don't have to wait for the other shoe to drop. Things kind of ease up with the Mars-Pluto stuff when you get to the end of April, and then there's more clarity, but I don't see any red flags. All right, so I see Jacqueline, Tanya, Miss Martin, David. You guys are all on deck. You're welcome. Jacqueline gets 3 cards. Jacqueline, do you have a particular question for me? You may have sent it earlier, so if I missed it, I apologize. I'm just kind of scanning ahead and looking at these. Tanya. My God, there are so many Pisces, Virgo placements in the chat, Virgo risings. Everybody's a Virgo rising. My goodness. Let me copy and paste. Cool. Thank you. Brandon, Kimberly. Let's see. Nay. Just making sure you guys all have your questions. Adriana. Okay. Aries, Sun, Cancer, Moon, and Rising. Okay. Thanks for the positivity, Rosie. All right, Jacqueline, let's see what I can tell you about what's going on in the cards. She says she's going to the Philippines mid-March during Mercury and Venus retrograde. And that is when you are going to be having these retrogrades going through your 9th house. What a good time to be traveling. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out why my iPad is not charging. Come on, you can do it. Okay, let's see. Hopefully it doesn't die on me. If it does, I'll pull it up on my other screen. So insight on, okay, so let's see, go to the Philippines, Any insights on my daughter, 9 months old, partner, family, or whatever comes up. All right, let's take a look. It's a good time to be traveling though. I will say that. So what comes up for Jacqueline? What can we tell her? King of Cups, Ace of Cups, King of Swords. All right, so obviously, you know, being like all that Cancer that you got in your chart, it makes sense that you got the King of Cups that's coming up. I kind of feel like the King of Cups is really focusing with the Ace of Cups more on like your relationships. So you're going during the retrograde, but who are you going with? My daughter, my partner. I mean, Ace of Cups and the King of Cups can be talking about a kind of growth and development and renewal phase that you're going through in a relationship. Like kind of being with somebody and realizing that you're leveling up, that there is more warmth and love and relationships and like commitment and connection. So I wonder if you're going with your partner, if that's going to be a time where you guys are really experiencing a lot of romance. I love that you're going to have the retrogrades in your 9th and you're going to a wedding. I mean, it's about ceremonies in a foreign country. I love also that you're going to have, you know, Venus there. So there could be a little bit more strong connection as Venus is meeting with Saturn. It's also good for in-laws, by the way. Ace of Cups can also mean that there is a lot of joy. You know, you're spending time with people and that there is reason to kind of feel like very grateful and very thankful and that you're going to enjoy the time that you have with other people. The King of Swords makes me feel like this is more connected to work and that while you're like, okay, everything's good on the home and relationship front, I'm getting a little bit of free time, we're going to enjoy that. You're really focused on coming back and like getting into work mode, which makes sense with some of the transits that's going to be happening in your 10th house, especially, you know, if you have an Aries sun. Retrogrades and eclipses in the 10th house are huge. I mean, it means that there's about to be a huge shift where you're like, I'm ready to start something new. And this is about being more bold and assertive. This is about telling people what's up. This is also about making the necessary connections, like being a leader, speaking out, getting ready to launch something new, taking on a new position, or starting a new career. Enjoy the time that you have. The fact that the King and the Ace come up first, where it's like, I'm going to go and do the wedding thing. I'm going to enjoy myself. Be present with that. Spend time with people because I'm going to tell you something. You're going to come back. You're going to be in full-blown work mode. And it's almost good to have a retrograde in your 10th house into your 9th because that's a time where you're like, I'm stepping back from work so I can travel, so I can kind of enjoy my time. So you get refreshed and then you come back to work and then you're like, okay, I'm ready to like totally kick ass, you know? Could this mean that there's going to be important meetings or, you know, connections or that you're going to be, you know, focusing on contracts or presentations or maybe you're kind of giving, you know, some kind of sit down meeting with a boss or somebody who's at the top. Maybe you're taking on more responsibility at work. All of these things are going to definitely be a mental test, but I feel like this is about kind of being able to rise to the occasion and feeling bold and confident in your demeanor at work and feeling like you can get a lot of stuff done. So enjoy the time while you have it, because the next couple of months with Saturn and Neptune in your 10th, you're going to be swamped. There's going to be a huge emphasis on working, making money, and feeling like you have to be super dedicated. And I feel like in order to do that, it would be nice to decompress a little bit and go and enjoy yourself, because you're probably not going to get some time to travel for a little bit longer. You'll see an opportunity to do this later in the fall, but it's probably going to be about 6 months before you're going to be able to break away and kind of do some of that stuff. And look for the enrichment that's going to come from your relationships, whether this is with your partner, this is your kid, your in-laws also. Obviously, the 10th house deals with in-laws, so that reconnection with the in-laws can actually be pretty peaceful. And also, particularly Venus in the 10th house, it's going to be about your mother-in-law. So making her look good, giving her gifts, compliments, going out, doing nice things with her, that's going to be a huge piece of the puzzle. That'll make your partner happy. Hopefully that's helpful. Have fun in the Philippines. Have fun. All right, we've got Tanya, Miss Martin, and then David. We got another one, Virgo rising. You guys. Virgo rising, Pisces sun, Taurus moon, Venus in Aries, ow, Mercury in Pisces. You're getting hit all over the place with these transits. You have a Venus return, you got a Mercury return, a Mars return, all at the same time. Holy cow. I've been working really hard in my job and have 2 business trips coming up next month. Also planned a long vacation honeymoon in Japan with my husband. Lately, I've been feeling drawn towards a more creative path, specifically making films with my husband, but I feel stuck in my current career because I've been in it for so long and still striving to improve. I'm torn between staying on this path or pursuing something new. Do you have any advice for the next month? Yeah, the retrogrades are going to be primarily about what realistically can we do together? How can we join forces with the retrogrades in your 8th to your 7th? I love that you talk about making films, and Venus is art, Neptune is film, and it's going to go into the 7th where you're like, can we actually do this for a living? Can we make this happen? And then the retrogrades in the 8th are about money. I think any Virgo rising, it doesn't really matter. You're going to see basically Uranus going into your 6th house. You're going to either be taking on a wild new job or you're going to be doing more than one job. You're going to be juggling, right? So I've got the 6 of coins, 5 of cups, page of wands. I do feel like one thing I would think about is that, there is potentially some room for disappointment, okay? There is some room. I'm not saying you can't do this with them, but 6 of coins means you guys have been in this phase where you're like, well, can we help each other? Can we do this? Is this possible? And talking about your guys' strengths and what you guys both bring to the equation and how you guys can help one another, I think balance each other out and make magic. I think that there is a lot of compatibility here. There's a lot of similarities here. You guys can help each other. But the 5 of cups is saying it's either a matter of you going, well, I'm not fulfilled in what I'm doing, and I've got somebody who's supporting me, and I'm thinking about making the change, and I'm embracing that, in a very kind of idealistic, creative, first steps kind of way. But it could also mean that there could be some disappointment because you were hoping that things were going to pick up very quickly, or that just because you work with your partner who might have a background in doing this, that you're just automatically going to kind of, bust into the industry and you're going to see things happen. With Venus and Saturn in conjunction the next couple of weeks, it means that there needs to be real true commitments. There needs to be solid focus on what you're creating and what you're doing, especially if it's art, spirituality, anything in regards to film or photography. And I feel like I just wouldn't expect immediate results. And a lot of filmmakers will tell you that. It takes time to develop the story, to shoot it, to edit it, to put it together, years for some projects to see it fully come to life. So don't expect immediate, results. This is also saying where you could be kind of disappointed, where you feel like, well, we were going to work together and I thought it was going to be like this whole thing. And you might realize that working together can be difficult because they may have a certain way of working that's very different than you, right? And so when you throw the relationship into also working together, it can't be that you're putting all of your eggs in this basket. If you want to create film, you want to create art, great, you can do that with him. But it's saying that this is not going to be the only person you're going to work with. It's about not isolating yourself or going, this is the only path I'm going to move forward. Equally, it's saying don't be super focused on one singular relationship because he might be doing work with other people. There's people that will come into your life with the Two of Cups behind you that are saying, hey, we want to connect and collaborate as well. It can also be saying that you may see the reality, the harsh reality of this particular industry, and that you might work really hard on something and put a lot of, thought and effort into it, but not everything is going to make it. And so going into it knowing like, hey, at times I'm going to feel like I might be kind of going up against the grain, or I'm going up against the odds, but that you still do it anyway. Like the Five of Cups is just like, you have to inevitably kind of accept the reality of the situation. That's like, you have to be really good at what you do to quote unquote make it. I don't think any of this is going to keep you from doing it. I think the Page of Wands is saying you're ready to take the risk. You want to do something creative and adventurous, and you're ready for a change. Knowing your astrology with the retrogrades in your 7th, hitting Saturn and Neptune, it's more about, is this the person that I'm supposed to be working with? And do they have a vision? Are they reliable? Do they know what they want? A lot of it can be that you're dealing with a situation where you're ready to make a change. You want to work with him. You guys could work well together, but he's still confused with what he wants to do. So I don't want that to reflect onto you where you're disappointed because you're like, well, he's not ready, or, he's not sure, or he hasn't come up with a plan. You can't totally put it all on him. This has to be about the process of you exploring, creating, and expressing yourself in a different way. I do think that it can be fulfilling. I think that this is going to be a process, and this is the very first steps of you going out there and creating. And a lot of it can be travel related. So I like to hear that you're like going to Japan, you're doing these things, you're going places. And personally, like I said, so many retrogrades that you're experiencing and returns on all of your, personal planets. It does tell me that you're getting ready to kind of have a major glow up, especially when it comes to art, relationships, as well as work. Watch for the big changes to be happening closer to like June, July, especially as you start seeing planets ingressing into your 10th house. That's when you're going to see a job change. Over the next 2 years, Uranus is going to be, making trines to Pluto, which means like you will dramatically change your work and your routine. Virgo risings need to do this and that. They need to have options, and they can pivot between two things. So maybe you're working with him and you're also working on your own projects. Maybe you have another creative, collaborator, and you're working with them and him. Maybe you have a part-time job and you're doing this, but I feel like something's got to give with some of the transits in your 6th and your 10th house. And I definitely feel like going and doing something that's more adventurous and creative is going to be the answer. Just keep your circle wide. Don't kind of pigeonhole yourself to just working with him. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Dorothy says, divorce the Virgo rising. It's the Virgo rising men that have the problems, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but oof. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Tanya. I hope you guys have fun in Japan. I've got Miss Martin, David, Brandon, and Kimberly. What's up, girl? So we've got 9779 asking about career, finances, or love. My husband is a Pisces rising Virgo moon. I'm a Virgo rising Pisces moon. Okay, so you guys can sit together and hold each other as you go through these eclipses. I like that you guys have the moon ascendant thing going on. That's helpful. It's going to help you kind of be in tune with what you guys are going through with some of these retrogrades and eclipses. I feel like the Pisces rising, is going to be more kind of like, where am I at? What's happening with me? And then the Virgo rising is kind of like, what's going on with you? What's happening? So what can I tell you about career, finances, or love? Anything in particular? So we've got King of Cups, 3 of Swords, 10 of Cups. I'm telling you, it was very obvious that it was going to be something kind of connected to like partnership, going through things. So the cards kind of confirm that. As he's a Pisces rising, eclipse happened in his sign last fall. He's got a Mercury retrograde, a Venus retrograde, and he's also got a lunar eclipse that's going to be in his 7th. So a partner being like, what's up with you? What do you need? How can I help you? How can I make you feel better? What changes are you going through with your money? Your feelings, yourself. And definitely I feel like, King of Cups is a good card. This is about somebody who's emotionally mature. They're all there, they're aware. So it could mean that's him, or maybe it's you saying, hey, I've been really working on this. I've been taking better care of myself. I've also been more aware of what my partner's going through. Maybe you have been really working on emotional boundaries. Maybe you have been working on emotional resilience and strength. So you're prepared going into this season. But when you have eclipses in the first 7th house axis, especially if it's hitting like ascendants or moons, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that gets shaken out. And so with the King of Cups coming up with the 3 of Swords, maybe it's like you're going, I feel like I'm in a really good place. Everything is solid emotionally. I'm ready. I know there's going to be some stuff that's going to get cleared out. And the 3 of Swords can be about dealing with heartbreak, pain, or disappointment. It can also be about heart healing, inner child healing, kind of clearing that stuff out. Maybe that's him, you know, the fact that they're all going to be kind of gangbusters of planets in the 2nd house of self-esteem and really trying to figure out, well, who am I? What do I bring to the table? How can I better my money? How can I better myself? It might be difficult for a Virgo rising to watch the retrogrades and things happening in the 7th where you feel like somebody is isolating or they're confused or they're sad. And I think this is going to be about you being like, look, you know, there's going to be some storm clouds, but after that, there's going to be a rainbow. So you go through something that's going to be kind of cleansing or clearing the relationship or clearing the air. And the 10 of Cups is basically like saying it can be happily ever after. Like it can actually be a good clearing, a good process of things that can bring you closer together. Reason to celebrate and kind of work through some of the challenges. It might mean that you're really kind of like encouraging him to move forward and to be positive and optimistic. It can also mean that you're glad that some of these things came up because maybe it's positive changes. And especially being a Pisces rising, you know, he's going to go through that. And Pisces moons are incredibly, incredibly sensitive. So you'll be really in tune with whatever changes he's going through. But I feel like you know that maybe it's just part of the process that kind of needs to happen where he's getting more in touch with his emotions. And for a lot of people, you know, it doesn't happen always through happy emotions. It happens through sadness or separation or depression or, you know, longing for something that they feel like they need. And then when they get in tune with that and they heal some of those issues and they become aware, then they're able to really expand and be a more emotionally available or kind or comforting or a better partner. So I wonder how long you guys have been together. You know, go back in time, look at what happened 9 years ago. It was the other way around. He was the one who was doing that for you as you were having some of the eclipses that were happening in Virgo, right? And that time around, you really needed your partner with some of those transits. Or maybe you were feeling like somebody was coming in. And if you weren't together, then you both need to go back and look at what happened 9 years ago with this eclipse cycle. Because Virgo is about releasing and letting go of the need to be perfect or nitpicking or being self-critical. Pisces is like, you know, it's okay, you're messy, but life is messy. Come here, let's cry about it. It's going to be all right. So I could definitely see a lot of you holding space for somebody who's going through some emotions and then also being proud that they're actually going through it rather than just kind of blocking things off and not dealing with it. Hope that's helpful. Hold on to your shorts. It's going to be definitely very impactful for both of you guys. David, what's up, David? And then Brandon and Kimberly. David is back, y'all. What's up, David? Hey, Candace, hope you're well. I'd appreciate a 3-card reading on my current job. Also, may not be on when you do the reading. Thanks much. Well, there you are. I am doing well. I am doing well. I am excited to have you here. I know you have become a Friday regular, so thanks for joining. All right, so let's see what we can tell David about what is going down in his current job, okay, or with his current job. What advice can we give David about his job? We've got the Magician, we've got the Queen of Swords, we've got, the World, and we've got the Queen of Swords. Change is afoot in some of the best ways. I think that, you know, for me, whenever I see somebody asking, well, what's going to happen? Where do I stand at work right now? And I pull the Magician, I'm like, look, there's about to be some major shifts in a good way. The Magician is what we're thinking about. It's what we're imagining, what we're hoping to have happen. And then it becomes reality because as above, so below. So with the Magician in the past, maybe it means that you're kind of like, hey, I've been thinking about ways that I can improve my current position, whether that's the job that you're at and staying there, whether you're hoping for a new position or department to open up, whether you're literally manifesting and asking the universe to send you a better job or a better schedule or more support. It's saying like it's on the way. And what's cool about the Magician is that he's very crafty, right? He can like make magic happen. He's got all the elements at his fingertips. He's got the wand, which is basically saying he's charging and bringing in that current of change. It also represents the direct connection he has with his subconscious, that if he can visualize it, if he can see it, if he can hold it in his mind's eye or dream about it or meditate on it, it becomes real. The cup is about the emotional involvement in the matter. How bad do you want something? How are you feeling emotionally? How is that influencing you? The wand, which is about literally creating something magical and being able to do something more creative or more daring. The pentacles, which is about money and physical change. And then obviously we also have the sword, which is about communication and intellect. So there's a need to kind of put these things together. It's like, okay, sitting down, what am I hoping to accomplish with work? Do I want to get out of this position? If I do I say something? How do I feel? Also what physical changes am I making? And then on top of that, it's how can I also put all these things together and see that I can manifest some kind of out or better solution or way forward? So it's not a bad thing. The magician could also mean there's some things that feel unclear, okay? Magicians are known for playing tricks. So there can be the sense of you looking at things going like, okay, not everything is what it seems. I feel like something's off. What am I missing? He says, been not feeling good emotionally at work, but I recognize it's my issue. So the good news is that the magician is like, maybe it's about you going, okay, is it work or is it me? I can't really tell very clearly. Am I playing tricks on myself? Honestly, I feel like part of it can be environmental. With the magician card coming up, it can mean that there can be some influences that are coming up where your emotions can be showing you whether or not you're outgrowing this position. And it's about learning to kind of separate, okay, is it me or is it work? I think that you're kind of due for an upgrade. There's like a leveling up that's going on because the magician wants us to go up. The World card is also saying positive changes, that there are things that are coming your way that's actually going to be propelling you forward. The World card can be talking about the fixed months, so February, May, August, as well as November. These are turning points. Also, if you are a fixed sign, so if you are, an Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, if you're one of those signs, or if you have those signs on your angles of your chart, it's saying this is when you're going to see turning points. The World card for me is about conclusions and completions. So I'm wondering if there's like this shift where maybe you do think it's you and you're like, hey, I've been going through some stuff. Maybe that's why I haven't been enjoying my job. I'm going to work on myself for a little bit. I'm going to better some things. And then you notice you're doing better, but you go to work and you're like, yeah, this isn't cutting it. I'm like outgrowing it. I'm hitting a wall here. Like I need more. I think challenge. And this is also going to be about you feeling like you have more freedom, or maybe you just feel like you're outgrowing something in the current position you're in. The Queen of Swords might represent a conversation you're going to have with a woman at work, okay? So this could be a boss, this could be a manager, this could be a leader, this could be another person that you're working side by side with. This could also be somebody who's like a headhunter or somebody who does job placement, somebody who's doing interviews, or somebody who places an ad. This could be a woman who's very bold and direct. She could be a Libra, she could be an Aquarius or a Gemini. Somebody who asks you, how are you doing? How are you liking your position? How are things going? Or what would you change? If you have like a meeting with superiors or somebody at work that's asking for feedback or wanting to have a meeting with you, or they're saying, hey, tell us how we can improve things, give them a piece of your mind. Tell them, let them know, because through communication with this person, it looks like it's actually going to open the door for you to be like, well, actually I want more of a challenge. I would like to be working in a different department. I want to be working with more people. I want to be communicating more one-on-one. They might say, well, why didn't you say something? You know what? We've got something. We'll connect you with a different department. Or why don't you go and talk to so-and-so? I think they might actually have something that you could do, and you could be a part of that and you could help them. It's about speaking up and realizing that if you stay stagnant, you're going to continue to question, is it me or the job? But if you start asking questions, or if you start kind of throwing your hat into the ring, it's going to give you the opportunity to engage with new people, and also I think be able to expand more and meet other people and kind of merge into different departments, or even travel. It could be something in regards to travel or learning that can help you improve some of your skills, so that way you're going to be even more valuable for the position that you're in. Hope that's helpful. Watch for that incoming conversation. I do think it's going to be a total turning point for you. Good luck. You're welcome. What's up, Brandon? Then we got Kimberly and Nate in the Bay. Brandon says, let's get a financial outlook for the next 6 to 12 months. Says the Aries rising, as like you've got all these planets that are rocking and rolling. Get ready, because definitely the Venus retrograde shakes things up if Venus rules your second house. But there can be lots of like manifesting going on. I'm feeling like the universe like has your back and things just miraculously appear. It's like crazy. Ooh, what is this? First thing that came to mind was like, is this a sugar mama? The Empress. Obviously, the Empress is a card that deals with women, okay? It deals with women, working with women, female partnerships, female clients, romantic partnerships. But the Empress is about Venus. So, you know, knowing that Venus is going retrograde, I think is pretty on par with changes revolving around your relationships and money. It can be bringing people in that you are reconnecting or recollaborating with. It can be a complete reassessment also of your finances and your wealth. One of the better wealth cards, people are always like, give me the 10 of Pentacles, like give me the, you know, give me the Ace of Pentacles. Like that's great, but the Empress is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, you've only got one pentacle or you've only got 10 pentacles, but the Empress is like, we can do this and we can create that, we can do this and we can do that. Aries risings, I think in particular, having Venus retrograde in your sign means it's bringing in more people. People are literally meeting or walking up to you and coming up to you and trying to connect and collaborate. So you have a multitude of opportunities to meet and connect and also give birth to. It can be new projects, it can be new working relationships, new clients, mother figures, older women can be coming in that can also be very beneficial, and it can kind of help you as well. But the Empress is also associated with March and April, okay? So this is about that time where we're going from Pisces into Aries. Pay attention. There might be a wealthy woman in your future. There might be somebody you connect with who's like, I've got connections. What do you want to do? Let's do something together. How can I help you? How can I help you, you know, make these dreams a reality? I think that this is going to be very significant because it can also mean that you're starting to see that you have the necessary funds coming in to help you start building some of the things that you've been wanting to build, because Venus is connected to your second house. Venus is also about luxury, okay? So it can be about luxury goods. It can be having excess wealth that you feel like you can spend. It can also mean that you're feeling a little bit more generous with other people and you're wanting to kind of grow and create, and in turn that's coming back to you. So retrogrades are karmic, right? So knowing that you're going to have all these transits going on in your sign, if something's meant to come back to you, if somebody owes you a favor, if you're supposed to meet somebody who's going to help you on the next leg of the journey, I definitely think that's going to happen. And like the bottom of the deck was a 10 of cups. So it's like, what the heck? You know, I think maybe you're sitting around going, well, where's this money coming from? How am I going to make it? What am I going to do? Only to realize that there is going to be opportunities for you to connect and collaborate with people who want to nurture some of the things that you've been wanting to achieve. All right, so let me know when that cougar shows up. Good luck. We've got Kimberly, Nay in the Bay, and then Adriana. Oh my God, I love these. Me too. I'll let you know in a year. That sounds good. Can I claim that as well? Kimberly says, where am I in my healing? I lost my Sag Sun fiance in February of 2020. We were together March 11th, 2018. I'm a Leo sun and Scorpio moon, Pisces rising. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Obviously, as a Pisces rising with the eclipses in your 7th house, there's this like processing who is left and who is coming in and how am I doing on my own. And the next 2 months are going to be huge for that. But Sag suns have a lot of opportunity for new relationships. So let's see what we can tell Kimberly about where she's at in her healing process and give her some insight. We have got the 6 of Wands, the Ace of Wands, the 4 of Wands. Well, you're moving and shaking, okay? None of this energy is stagnant. I definitely feel like there is a sense of you moving out of the grief phase and moving into the I'm here now, I'm going to continue on phase. Obviously, we never forget. We always remember. We miss them. But this is like we got to keep things moving, right? Like there is a need to keep things moving. And you've been in that. I do think that with the Six of Wands, it's about being victorious and optimistic about what the future holds, whether that's for you or, you know, potentially for your future, your career, your relationships, and also about having like a lot of like support around you. And not a lot of Pisces risings are going to feel that right now. Sag suns aren't feeling that either. So I don't know if you're feeling kind of like lonely, but the Six of Wands is saying like you've got people who are cheering you on, encouraging you, and like rooting for you. And also this is like you have places to go where people will make you feel wanted. Friends that are like, hey, you need to just come spend some time with me, come hang out with me, or come and visit, or I'll come and see you. Like there's something going on there where you're not alone, you're being encouraged, and people see your strength. The Ace of Wands is coming up in the right now card. So it does tell me something new is emerging. I do feel like, you know, anybody who's got 8th house moon, Scorpio moon, or Venus, fixed Venus, a lot of Taurus in their chart or Scorpio, they're very devoted, right? So I think about how the South Node's going through making aspects to your moon, and you've also got the North Node in your first house making aspects to your moon. And it's like about finally maybe getting into this phase where you're like, I feel like I'm becoming a new person, and like it's okay to prioritize me, and I'm changing and evolving in some way, and I don't know what that looks like, but I'm having to let go of maybe part of who I was when I was in that relationship. And it can be hard because you can feel like you're having an identity crisis. The Ace of Wands is encouraging you to be bold and brave and to embrace new things. It can be about taking action, traveling, you know, redefining how you look. It can also be about new passion projects and more physical activity, travel that's kind of coming into your life, and being just a little bit more brave and adventurous. That does seem to indicate that this is really starting to turn with the new year, okay? The real new year, the one that's coming, you know, at the end of March. March and April is going to maybe feel like when there's a light turning on and there's some shifts revolving around the way that you look at relationships and yourself. It can also be a time where, you know, you're feeling like you want to start dating again. Ace of Wands is about passion, so it can mean that that's opening the door. Certainly an eclipse in your 7th house with the ruler retrograde in your first means that only you can decide if you're ready or not. But I don't think the end goal is about having a relationship. I think it's about going on an adventure, being able to travel and connecting with new people. 4 of Wands does talk about celebrations, public spaces. It's about parties and gatherings and get-togethers. And I do feel like this is, once again, a very social card. So maybe you're not really focused on your end goal being relationships, but you are now open to saying, hey, I'm willing to meet people again. I don't feel like I'm in that space where I have to feel completely isolated or alone. You know, I am willing to kind of venture out a little bit and see what's out there. And this can also be changes going on with your home. So Pisces rising, I think about Uranus going into your 4th. You might be traveling back and forth between 2 places, or maybe you're going to be doing short distance stints somewhere for a period of time before you come back home, and you're going to start kind of venturing to new areas. Watch out for parties, invitations, celebrations, birthday parties, weddings. This is a wedding card, so it can mean that you get an invitation to go to a party or a wedding or a get-together, and you go and you end up meeting people you really like, or you end up meeting somebody that you really kind of hit it off with. In terms of all of this relating to your healing, it's saying like you're doing it. Now it's in the phase of being like part of the healing is about choosing to be here now, not getting stuck or feeling guilty or reminiscing about where you've been. Actually, you know, being able to allow your partner to live vicariously through you because they want you to be happy, they want you to be active, and they don't want you to be alone. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Definitely difficult. Sending you lots of love, Kimberly. All right, so we've got Nay in the Bay, Adriana and Briana, and then Roy. Roy, you are the real MVP tonight. All right, so Nay in the Bay says, hey, my name is Nelli. Am I saying that right? I'm an Aries Sun, Taurus Moon, Leo Rising. Okay. Just like to know what's coming into my love life and if I'll get a boyfriend soon. Okay, well, certainly that Leo rising with Pluto in the 7th, Mars on the ascendant, a little bit of back and forth. But let's take a look and see what do the cards say. Aries Sun and having your 7th house Lord going into Aries in the 9th can definitely be meeting somebody, especially while you're traveling or you're learning something new, going to school. I also think that this could mean that you're deciding to travel alone somewhere. Oh, girl. There's the World card again. I think that's like the card of the evening so far. World card, Lovers card, King of Cups. I want you to watch for somebody who's got either like Gemini, like they can be like a Cancer, Gemini cusp. So it can be like a Cancer or Gemini born in June. Or watch for a water sign. Okay, so we're going to be looking for a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces. Well, you're asking about love and relationships. I was saying with the retrogrades that are happening in your 9th and the fact that you're going to have your 7th house ruler going into your 9th, you'll meet somebody. They could be culturally different. It could be somebody who's from a different country. It could be a long distance relationship. Maybe you meet them at an airport. I definitely think that there is a process you're going through the next like 2 months where there's retrogrades from the 9th into the 8th where you're like, I want to travel, but I need money. Maybe I want to study something, but I don't know. And you'll see some other transits in the summer that's going to be about making new friends and going and venturing with new people and traveling. And so I think that probably May, June, July is when I would be looking out for this person. The World card is saying cycles have completed. So you're like, I am done with the back and forth with people. There's been a lot of back and forth and I'm realizing what I want. I'm okay being on my own until I find something that's worth actually, working for. The Lovers card is passionate. It's sexy. This is about temptation. This can also mean that there can be somebody who comes in that, can be back and forth. It can also mean that you're like, oh, there's this guy and then there's this guy. And like, this is what I like about this one and this is what I like about this one. And you're comparing and contrasting. Sometimes it can also represent like a little bit of like a lover's triangle where you meet somebody who's like, oh, well, I'm not available, but maybe I will be in the future. And you're like, okay. So you need to be mindful and keep your options open. There is a mirror, right? For you. That's like, okay, you're looking at them and you're like, oh my God, I'm like seeing myself in this person, or I'm learning a lot about myself through this person. You have a choice in the matter, right? This is a card that's associated with Gemini. So it means that you can keep an open mind. You can explore it if you want to. You don't necessarily have to commit to this person. It can be very passionate and it can be a bit of a back and forth. If you choose to go in that direction, I think it might start as something that's very kind of passionate and there's a lot of chemistry and it's very sexual, but it could materialize into the King of Cups, which is there's something beneath the surface there. When you get beyond just the physical intimacy and that connection, there's a lot of emotions in somebody who can also be very vulnerable, somebody who can be very sensitive, very kind and compassionate, wear their heart on their sleeve. It might mean that this is a significant turning point where this is somebody who has always kind of based their relationships off of the chemistry or the intimacy, when in reality, the shift that's actually going on is he's realizing, whoa, I've met somebody who makes me want more and makes me feel seen. So I definitely feel like there's something coming. Keep your eyes open and, I'm not just feeding the delusion. I definitely think there is going to be a relationship and it might catch you by surprise that it's somebody who's kind of mirroring somewhere where you've been. And that's what I love about the Lovers card is somebody will come in that's kind of showing you what you're doing and how you can level up, right? Anyway, I hope that's helpful. I know we're having a little bit of some stream glitching, so hopefully it's doing okay. All right. Come on, stream, you can do it. All right, we've got Adriana, Briana, and then Roy. Adriana says, hi, Candace, should I purchase the couch I've been wanting or could it be a disaster? Says the Libra rising, Virgo, Sun, Sag Moon. That's your Sag Moon talking, where you're going to have like the Venus retrograde, 4th house from your moon, which is your home. But Saturn rules your 4th house, and Venus is going to retrograde conjunct Saturn. Part of me feels inclined to tell you, because Virgo is going to be about like delivery and services and measuring, you got to make sure that the house, the couch that you want, check the measurements. Make sure that they can deliver it to your home. Make sure if they do deliver it to your home, we're going to find out in a second, that it is not damaged. You need to actually thoroughly look at it before you send the people away who deliver it to you. Very important with some of your transits, because you're going to be like, it's late, there's something wrong with the leg, what's going on. And you need to be all over that before you unwrap it and then they leave. But let's ask the deck, should she get the couch that she's been wanting, or is it a disaster? The Star card is saying, like, look, you've wished for this. This is something that you've wanted, all right? I don't think it's going to be a disaster, but just intuitively knowing your astrology, you have to make sure the dimensions are going to fit. You have to. Because something about the confirmation card in the Seven of Cups is being like, I don't know, it looked like a different color online, or like I thought it was going to look good in here, but maybe it doesn't. There is something to this that makes me feel like something is going to be off with how it looks or the dimensions, right? But the Star card is saying you've wished for it. So if it's something that you're hoping to get or achieve, you can. This could also mean you go and look at some of the collective reviews. Collective is the Star card, and the Seven of Cups is what other people think. So if it's potentially getting a couch that's like on a website that is a little kind of, I don't know, it's like a little iffy, go and read the reviews for, you know, the people who have bought the couch. Go and look at the photos of people who have bought the couch. Go and see what people are saying about the shipping and the receiving. I don't think there's going to be anything wrong with the couch itself. I think it's more going to be about whether or not it's actually meeting your expectations for what you are hoping and desiring to get. And also the Star card can be about getting feedback from friends and asking them what they think, but double and triple check those dimensions. Honestly, from the Sag moon perspective also, the retrograde is going into your 4th house. So can mean that you're doing some of this work until you get to the end of April and then you decide to order it, right? What's the deal with this couch? What color is it? What does it look like? Why is it this dream couch? I'd love to hear more. All right, so we've got Briana and then Roy. And Briana says, hi there, one card, please. What's up with my romantic life? I'm all over my previous suitors. Is there anyone coming along worth my time and attention? If so, what sign and when? Thanks in advance. All right, well, let's take a look over the previous suitors. That's what I like to hear during your potential Mercury-Venus retrograde process. Let's see what we can tell Briana. Is there somebody new coming in? She's over the old. And what sign and when? I love when you ask the tarot a question. It gives you a direct answer. Of all of my tarot decks, and this is like just regular old, you know, this is the regular old Rider-Waite deck. This one's pretty bang on tonight. So, ask and you shall receive. When? March and April. Okay. It can also mean under a solar eclipse in Aries, under a full moon in Aries, which you'll have in the fall. Somebody coming? Yes, the Emperor's daddy. Okay, so this is somebody who tops all the kings. He's got his act together. He's bold, dynamic, masculine, takes the lead, means what he says what he means, walks the walk and talks the talk. Can be an Aries, sun, moon, or rising. Somebody who can also look like a Viking, or somebody who can be connected to work or like a father figure. Okay, so it could be somebody that you meet through family or you're introduced to through family, somebody who you meet through your boss. This can also be somebody who is, you know, a little testy. The Emperor is somebody who's just kind of like, okay, let me lead. So you'll meet somebody who's not going to let you kind of push things along, but also is not going to kind of wait around and see if you're interested. They'll take the lead, they'll be direct, and they'll be aggressive. Watch for this throughout the transits in Aries. We're going to have transits in Aries clear until, you know, the end of April. So Venus is there, Mercury's there, you know, eclipses are there. So I definitely feel like I would also look at the area of Aries in my chart, and that can potentially show you where this potential person is coming in. Hope that's helpful. This is a fun question. I don't think I've gotten this question before. Roy Ballard says, give me a story idea. I like that. All right, Roy. Well, let me see if I can give you a good story idea. Oh, I accidentally pulled 4 cards. Sorry. We've got the 10 of Swords. We've got the World card. We've got the Knight of Wands. And we've got the 6 of Wands. You got an extra, so I threw it in there. Well, if you have been watching so far, you know that I like to read cards like I read a storyline. So the story starts something like this. Okay, Cancer rising, Libra sun, Capricorn, Saturn return, extra retro. Goal is to finish my book before summer. Okay. 10 of Swords starts with like a tragedy, an ending, a major dramatic situation where there is a feeling of being backstabbed, deceived, disappointed, taken for granted, or some kind of like crisis. Okay, so think losing the job, losing the parent, some, you know, what can feel like a blow that you can't come back from, getting knocked down and like not knowing what direction is up. And the world card is the opposite of that. It's like saying you go from the bottom to the top. That, you know, the world is going to kick you down a little bit. You're going to go through cycles where you're going to realize that if you're getting a little bit too high in yourself, full of yourself, right when you think like things are going okay, the world comes through and it's like, nope, we're going to clear this out. We're going to kind of give you a new lesson. So it is also about karma, cycles, endings and beginnings, rebirth, but in a sense of like where we've been in past lives, what we've done in past lives, what we've experienced, and how those cycles can actually carry into this existing life, and like why we have some of the themes we have, why we have some of the relationships we have with people, why we end up choosing some of the professions we choose, why we have the family we have, why we have some of the challenges that kind of come up, because we are here, you know, on earth, the world, to continue to go through these cycles until we learn them, until we evolve, and then hopefully no longer have to come back to the prison planet. Ten of Swords. All kind of relating to the story of the hero's journey. So it can definitely talk about with the Knight of Wands, like where this is a comeback story. This is the underdog, right? This is like learning to become their own hero, finding their own inner voice, overcoming challenges maybe. It can be with addiction, loss, grief, or sorrow. This can also be talking about somebody who is more of like a feisty character. So they could be an athlete. They could be a warrior or somebody who's in military. This could be somebody who is learning that a lot of their anger and their frustration actually stems from grief, loss, and separation, and that it took them a while to realize that if they carry that with them, that that's not actually going to get them anywhere. This can also be, like I said, a comeback story. I think the Knights are always kind of dedicated to their cause, and obviously the Wands is about passion and taking chances and risks and maybe being able to kind of risk it all. You know, it's like all or nothing. It's like, this is my last shot. You know, if I don't do it now, then I'm never going to be able to, you know, get a chance to do it. Followed by the Six of Wands, which is such a cool like closure to this, where it's talking about like overcoming against all odds. Maybe it's something like somebody where, you know, they have a sports star that is told, hey, you know, you've suffered this horrible injury and you're never going to be able to come back from this. You're never going to play again. You're never going to run again. You've had a car accident. Maybe you've had a concussion. You broke some bones. Maybe you suffered a devastating loss and it affected you psychologically and you fell into a pit of depression or alcoholism. And after traveling the world and going places and having experiences and seeing real people who have real problems, it gave you perspective, and it also gave you a reason to come back and say, you know what, I've gone and done all of these things, but I realized that I'm not done with this. I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to get back on the horse. And in doing so, throughout the process, they also inspire other people. And there's other people who will kind of champion around them and encourage them and say, you know, it's because of you that I play baseball, or it's because of you that, you know, I decided to get into racing or decided to get into fighting. And it's like this comeback story. And then it ends up being like a victorious ending where it's not just about him winning, but other people throughout the process who are able to kind of say, wow, I see a little bit of myself in you and you inspired me to actually pick back up and keep going, right? So hopefully that's helpful in giving you a storyline, although that could be everything from Rocky to, you know, a bunch of like other stories that I think kind of like mirror that. Let me know how your story goes. I'm curious to see what you end up like writing about and how all of that goes through. Yes, fish out of water, learn from the fates is the story of broken home. Cool, like that. Fish out of water is kind of cool, very Pisces theme. Well, guys, I hope that was helpful. That is my Friday night. As a reminder, I will not be here next week. So I'll be back for the lunar eclipse in Virgo. So in 2 weeks, we'll be posting that link and I'll be here to do your guys' readings. Make sure that you give me a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel. I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday doing readings. And you guys can also find out more about my work, or if you'd like to book a personal one-on-one reading with me, or if you'd like to learn tarot, I teach tarot. Check out beyondtheveiltarot.com for more, where I've got lots of courses and other goodies, and sign up for my newsletter while you're there. So that way you guys are alerted as to when I have new webinars and lectures that are coming out over the next couple of months. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend and have a good time, have lots of fun, and enjoy some of these eclipses and these retrogrades while I'm gone. I'll see you all very soon. Take care.